We're live.
We are live, I think.
We're live. Wow. Here we go. Right. I don't know if I'm ready for this, Mark. To be honest, my wild card to be absolutely pulled apart. But hello, everyone. Welcome to a late night, last minute decision to do a stream.
I had to talk you into this because when I found out you're playing your wild card today, presumably after the De Bruyne injury, I thought to myself, we can't let this go by without covering it.
Well, we did the FPL show, didn't we, yesterday?
Yeah.
And I think probably the last thing I said to you before we left was, if De Bruyne's out, I'm gonna have to play my wild card. And you went, no, like you're not gonna have to. You're not
I,
gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. And as soon as it broke today, I just thought, if I take him out, I'm going to be on a -8,
were you
3 million
shocked?
in the world.
Were you shocked that Pep came? Because I was completely taken aback by the fact he said he was out. I thought like that's what makes me think it's like maybe quite long term, as in 3 or 4 weeks rather than 1 or 2. There's talk today it's 1 or 2, but if it was just 1 or 2, he could say, yeah, he's looking short, it's looking very unlikely, and get away with that, couldn't he? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I don't know what the benefit is of kind of giving the information that he gave, because he was clear in the fact that he's going to be out for Arsenal, but really vague in the sense of how long it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether, I mean, what if he starts? Surely he's not going to start. Surely he won't be. The mind games won't be that.
No.
Won't be
He's
that
definitely
big. But
out. Don't worry about it. But I mean, it's just a bit. It's just reassuring that if Pep's going to play that game for us, that's very handy. I
yeah,
thought he was going to be cagey. And by the way, we are going to look at chat and answer some questions in this, aren't we, as we go? And yeah, give your opinion on Az's team when we put it up in a minute. This is going to be quite gonzo, quite lo-fi. So take it as it comes. We have tried to make it look professional in the 5 minutes it took to set up, didn't we?
yeah, you've done well. You've done
Also,
well.
when I texted you earlier and you said, "No, I can't do a live stream," I'm pissed. You don't sound pissed.
Well, I've got a couple of bit of evidence to suggest otherwise.
Do you think that's helping you? It's funny because we talked about stories, and you tell that story about when you're in Poland playing your wild card and when you
Oh
got
yeah,
drunk. So why
I
are you
know,
doing it again? What are you up
I
to?
know, I know. Well, yeah, I mean the trouble is that I did say beginning of international break, I made my early transfers -4, and everyone was kind of saying, well, not everyone, but a lot of people were saying, do we really want to take early transfers, international break? And I was like, well, the idea is move early, get the price rises, and if anything serious happens in the international break, I've got the wild card to kind of cover myself. And that has transpired, because I wasn't expecting when De Bruyne went off, and then the next day he's being pictured cycling around Belgium
Yeah,
with the
I
rest of the
know.
team.
I was quite optimistic when I saw
Yeah,
that.
I thought, oh, he'll be all right. Maybe
Did he say the nature of the injury? Do we know where it is? Is it
I've got
hamstring? Is it?
I've got absolutely no idea. I've got
Right.
absolutely no idea. What I was hoping for was, even if De Bruyne was out, if it was like a kind of a minor thing, oh, he'd be out this game, but he's been training, but he'd have a fitness test or something like that,
Mm,
something a bit vaguer. But I wasn't expecting Pep, like you said, just to come out and just outright say, yeah, he's definitely out of this match, and we don't really know how long for. And there's reports that it's 3 matches, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but it's not at a good time for my team. Like, my team isn't in a particularly good place anyway, and
yeah.
sort of losing a key member of my squad when I'm already on a hit has kind of forced my hand a bit. So
I think it's massive actually, because I was saying, I tweeted about people on a wild card. I'd be if I was playing my wild card and Pep came out and said, "Yeah, KDB's out," I'd have been pissed off because
yeah,
I'd be thinking, well, if he's vague about that, people who have KDB won't get rid because they'll hold him because he's such top scorer last season and all that. So you'd be hoping that Pep just plays it cagey, and then a lot of people keep KDB. He either doesn't turn up or doesn't perform. City have got tough fixtures. Everyone would have that dilemma about, do I get rid of KDB, do I not? But Pep coming out like he has today, doing that, it's made it so easy. And if I was on the wild card, I'd be like, bloody hell, what do you do that for? Because everyone's going to Sun, which is basically 50% of the reason why a lot of people have done their wild card is to get on Kane and Son. And now, yeah, all right, you've got to take a hit to get Son in, or Kane in.
yeah,
But
I get
what
it.
can you
But I
do?
mean, if you've got KDB in your old team, and then you've wildcarded, it's another player who you'd want
I,
rid of,
I
I guess.
know, I know, and I guess it removes that risk of, well, I've played the wild card, got rid of KDB, so therefore he can't hurt me. But I do think that some of the advantage of the wild card has been lost as a result of Pep coming clean on the KDB. And it's such a significant injury; it's the most expensive
Mm.
player in the game, right? So, well, after Liverpool got Salah and Mane, of course, but Yeah, it's so welcoming to see Pep be straightforward with us. And someone said as
That's
well
why I think he's probably going to start.
yeah, no. Someone said the reporter who asked
Surely
the
not.
question grimaced when he said he was out, and someone was tweeted, "Oh yeah, he definitely had him in his team."
Yeah.
I wonder if it was Ian who asked the question. I wonder if it
Yeah.
was our friend Ian Irving.
To get such a straightforward reply.
Yeah. All right, should we get your team up? Let's have a look then. Come on, let's go through it. Here we go then. Let's rip it to shreds. Is that your old team or your new one? That's your new one, is it? Right. Okay.
Yeah. Let me just wait for the stream to update. Yeah. Okay. So this
read
this
it
is
out
this
one
is,
by one. Go on.
This is
There's
in
no one
theory
listening on podcast though.
This is in theory the wildcard team that I'm looking at. So Martinez in goal, Forster as backup. So Lamptey, Mitchell. I mean, 4-point defenders are just a nightmare anyway. Eiling, Alexander-Arnold, Semedo, Stevens, Pulisic, Salah. Oh, you even put my big red ballers around. Stevens, Pulisic, Salah, Son, Fernandez, Mopé, Calvert-Lewin, Antonio.
Right.
So the team I sent you, the most recent team, had a big red ring around Fernandez and around Antonio.
Why are they the ones you're wavering about?
They're the ones who I am they're the ones that I can see so many different options around those two marks. So let me just like I'll give you a quick breakdown of the changes I've made.
Yeah, go on.
Because I was looking at it and I was actually thinking it does look quite similar to the team that I had anyway after the -4. Obviously the big change is Son in. And no Havertz, my old mate. So essentially the changes I've made are Ryan in goal to Martinez.
Yeah.
Walker Peters to Lamptey.
Right.
Other defenders the same.
See, I couldn't believe you didn't have Lamptey already. You spoke about Lamptey so much and in glowing terms. I presumed you had him in your team for some reason. But...
The only reason I didn't was because I had Ryan in goal. I didn't really want to do the double up with the Brighton defenders.
Fair dues,
So then KDB's gone for Pulisic. Pereira's gone for Son, and in this team, Havertz has gone for Fernandez. And then up front, it's all change. So I'd already taken the 4-point hit.
Well, it hasn't all changed. You got more pay.
Well, he was part of the hit. I'd already taken.
Oh, I see.
So he's still kind of.
So you're counting him as a wild card option.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you got to right. It's all part of the same big thing.
I guess so, but. You know, if you didn't play your wild card, he'd be in your team already anyway, right? Because you've made.
If I didn't play the wild card, I'd be on a -4, and I'd have Mopé and Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. So it depends how you kind of want to do it. But I'm counting them as part of it. So Davies went for Mopé, Werner went for Calvert-Lewin, and Jimenez has gone for Antonio. So it's like 1, 2. It's about 6. It's about 7 changes. It's about half my team gone. I've still got some of the players that I like. So I didn't want to get rid of like Eiling and Alexander-Arnold and Semedo and Salah because I still think they're good picks. And just because I'm wildcarding doesn't mean I'm gonna.
There's a bit of reaction. Lots of people coming in. Tom Freeman, our Tom, he says, "How about Watkins over Mopé? What do you reckon to that?"
Mopé ain't going anywhere. So you can forget about Mopé leaving the team. I think he's the best 6.5 striker going forward the moment.
Do you not think it's heart over head there a little bit? Because I think Watkins, with his fixtures, I think Tom's got a point.
Well, I think Brighton are, like we talked about yesterday, I think Brighton are an attacking side. And I've been impressed with Mopé over a prolonged period of games. I've been impressed with Watkins for one game. And the problem with Watkins is you can't move him anywhere. So if he's a 5.9 striker and I'm not impressed with him, I mean, I don't think the games are that good. I mean, Leicester away, I know they've got some injuries in defence and Vardy's out and stuff.
Hold on. Let me have a look.
You think that's that good a game for Watkins?
Talking.
Leicester away?
No. But I'm just looking at the fixtures coming up for Villa, right?
And then they got Leeds. So we like what we said yesterday. We don't know what they're gonna do.
They got Leeds and Southampton at home. They're both good fixtures for Watkins, I think.
Who's on penalties? Mopé. Watkins ain't going to be on penalties.
No.
Have you seen Watkins? Apparently, Watkins was on some penalties for Brentford last season.
Yeah,
I looked him up.
Bit ropey, was it?
Scored 1, missed 3.
All right, okay, that's good.
So he's
news
not
for
going to
me.
be taking them. I mean, if anything, it's Watkins versus Antonio.
Look at this run, though. After, I mean, don't want to drop it in and break your team. But game week 9 they got Brighton at home, 10 West Ham away, 11 Newcastle at home, Wolves away, Burnley at home, West Brom away, Palace at home. You haven't got any Villa.
No. This is what is feeding into my. I wish you had my big red marks around my these two players, because Fernandes could be Grealish.
Yeah.
And that means Antonio.
And what do you do then?
Well, then Antonio could be anyone. So he could go back up to Jimenez, because he's still got 3 good fixtures.
Everyone's saying Grealish in. Sam Musaray has just put it in. Surely get at Grealish as.
But what I could potentially do is Fernandes to Grealish. Everyone's going to hate this. I could get Werner back in.
What, for Antonio? Well, I guess as long as you're getting Antonio in game week 8 when he really has the fixture swing.
I really fancy.
I've just realised
game.
This is the anti-Joe wildcard, because where Joe was like burying it and doing it on the quiet and not having any outside influence, you're doing it live with 676 people watching.
Yeah, a few beers. It's
one extreme to the other.
I could take it.
This would give Joe nightmares if he was watching this. It's exactly what he wanted to avoid, and you're going out of your way to do the opposite.
Yeah, I've had quite a few drafts with Havertz still in, because I keep going on about Chelsea and Pulisic I think is locked in, because I'm really excited. Lampard's comments today kind of tell me that he's pretty much sure to
I think one of the with people who are on the wildcard, having got the KDB news today, having lost Son as kind of like an edge, I think a lot of them will now move to Pulisic as well, or maybe instead of. Not instead of, but certainly I think Pulisic will be in a lot of wildcard teams now, as of today. Also, obviously news that he's fit and he's likely to start by the sounds of it. So Pulisic is going to be a popular wildcard pick for sure.
And like you said, I think if you're wildcarding, you need to find a few players who are gonna gonna be a bit different. So
especially now that Son's not that
exactly. Yeah. And like it felt kind of before, if I was playing the wildcard, maybe moving my whole team around for Son, just because the wildcard wasn't a great idea. But now it feels like I'm getting in Son and Pulisic, maybe getting ahead of the curve with Antonio as well. I'm not taking the hit that I'd already put in, so the -4, the -8, whatever it would have been. And I feel like I'm, Lamptey, I think I've wanted for a while, and I do think Martinez is the best goalkeeper. So although they're quite minor moves.
What about Mitchell? Mitchell's going to be surely you're just having him.
Mitchell's just a nightmare, because what do you do with him? There's no one. I don't want to get like Branthwaite, because you never know when you might want a couple of Everton players in your team and you're using up a spot. You've got Douglas has now gone off on loan somewhere else at 3.9. I don't think Mitchell's going to stay in the team, but his price is nearly going up. If his price goes up again, then I make 0.1 on him anyway. So
and Semedo, I know. If I was wildcard and I'm not sure I'd go Semedo, I think I'd go Saiss and save the money. I don't buy into Saiss being vulnerable. Having said that, people Bellis has just put in Kilman as a factor. He's a 4 million defender who did start last time out, and that moves Saiss out to left wing back. I don't know if that's permanent though. I don't. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Saiss is a good option, but he's a centre back, and I don't really like centre backs.
Right, I get you. Right.
And I look at Semedo and I think how reliant Wolves have been on attacks down the right with Doherty in the past. I look at that game when Semedo played. He didn't look fully fit in that game. He was subbed off sort of towards the end with cramp. But I would say the first 30, 40 minutes of that game, Semedo was the furthest player up front. He was so advanced, playing centrally, like almost as a kind of striker type role, and had a really good chance and fluffed it. But I think he's going to grow into that team more and more. Chilwell is the obvious.
Yeah, a lot of people saying like Andrew Phillips has just put Chilwell question mark. Where is he? Did you consider him? Given
I did. Yeah. I do really like Chilwell. I think he's a good player. They haven't got Silva this week, and they haven't got Mendy in goal, so you could argue that it's a kind of long-term move. But I like Semedo's next 3, whereas Chelsea have got Southampton game without arguably their 2 most crucial defenders, and then they've got United, and you don't really know what's going to happen in that game, and then they've got Burnley. But I think I like Semedo, and I've missed the price rise on Chilwell as well. So
Yeah, I guess that's one of the things
that's the kind of issue with it.
How much sleep are you going to lose on the fact that if you'd have played the wild card at the start, you could have got some prize rises? I mean,
Well, that's it. I know. Yeah, I mean, it would only really have been Chilwell because I already moved early for Mope and Calvert-Lewin. I could have made a 0.1 on Son as well. But yeah, I'm not overly devastated. But yeah, there's a few people in the chat saying, because there is one player who I have to say I am incredibly tempted by. And I'm sure you can guess who that is.
No, go on.
No?
Oh, Bale, of course, yeah. A few people calling for him. I mean, how close is he to get in? Where would he go instead of Fernandes?
Instead of Fernandes.
Yeah.
It's so tempting. Well, it is so tempting.
Something's wrong with, I mean, like, what do you make of Fernandes? Because what puts me off him is the fact he was subbed at half-time in that Spurs game. Rumours, well, more than rumours, that he had a big falling out with Maguire. Maguire's obviously probably not going to play because he's got the injury, but also he's in a bad way in terms of form and confidence, and who knows what off the pitch. United, I think, and with the spat that Fernandes had with Maguire, Fernandes, we don't know what kind of mental situation he's in with United. Is he disgruntled? I don't know if I'd go to Fernandes in a wild card. Whether I'd go to Bale, I'm not sure, but I would probably go Mane, to be honest, if I could.
I can't afford that.
You can't afford it, right?
No, I'd need another 1.5 million or whatever it is. I'd need to. I mean, I'd prefer. To be honest, I prefer to go down to Grealish. I think it's probably between Grealish and Fernandes. I mean, I would just absolutely love to have Bale in. I just think he needs one game. Like this is why I did kind of want to save the wild card for next week, like I talked about, because if I could see Bale coming off the bench for 45 minutes and putting in a blinding performance, then that would tempt me. It would make it easier to get him if I had Fernandes as well, so I could move down to him, which is one of the reasons. I mean, Fernandes, let's be honest, if Solskjaer has got any chance of keeping his job at United, Fernandes is the key player. Like, forget Maguire. Maguire is crap. Maguire is not going to get United into the top four. If Fernandes isn't happy there, they are going to get absolutely nowhere near the top, because he is so pivotal to them.
Yeah, well.
And like a few people are saying in the chat, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they slapped the captain's armband on Fernandes at the weekend.
Yeah, he is a leader. I mean, he cares about it. Clearly, that's why he fell out of Maguire, and you can tell that he's fully committed. May lose some set pieces to Tellez, of course.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
I don't know. People say, I mean, there's a lot in the chat about Fernandes to Grealish and then Antonio to Kane. Right? That's what is a popular shout out at the moment.
So couldn't afford that without downgrading someone else.
And do you want the Spurs double up?
And I don't want the Spurs double up.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that.
Yeah. So that, I mean, the only Spurs double up I do want would be Son and Bale.
Yeah.
I just don't want Kane. I just don't want him. It just doesn't interest me. I don't care. You can show me all the stats you want about him. You can show me.
I'm with you on that.
I hate watching him play. I literally cannot stand. When he's been good for you, and when he's been good for me seasons ago, he was incredible, like just so dangerous, so deadly. But I just don't know about him. I just don't think he's the same. Like, he hasn't got that same drive to get goals that he had 3 or 4 seasons ago. He's happy being the kind of creative type and dropping back a bit and letting other players get in, and that's why I think that's going to be a massive benefit to Bale and Son. But
well, interestingly, Adam France is saying, is Kane not a great placeholder for Aguero? You thought about that?
Yeah. Well, no, to be honest, I haven't thought about Kane as a placeholder for Aguero. I thought about Aguero in right from the off, but it does seem a bit early. Okay, it's another reason why I'd love to wait another week. But the thing is, when you're on a -8, so when the KDB news broke, I immediately took out KDB for Son, because I thought my bench option, if I didn't bring in Son, would have been Walker Peters. So I'd be playing Walker Peters away at Chelsea, which obviously is not great. So I immediately did KDB to Son. I was looking at my team and I was thinking, I'm on a -8 here. I've still got Pereira. I've still got Havertz. I don't trust Ryan in goal, because I don't think Brighton are going to be a team which keeps a lot of clean sheets. I've got Walker Peters, and I don't trust Southampton defensively either. I just thought, I'm on a -8. If I'd done the -8 and I was happy with my team for like the next 3 or 4 weeks, then I would have probably just taken it and just gone with it. But when you're still looking at your team and there's issues and you want a -8, and I'd already taken a -4 the week before, it's like, how many hits can I take before I'm happy? Or do I just act now and sort it out?
There's something about, it's like I've always said, like if you haven't played your wildcard early, you're far more strict on yourself when it comes to hits, and that's why sometimes I like to get the wildcard out of the way, because it gives you a bit more freedom to do. And I'm taking my 4th hit of the season this week now because of the KDB to Sun thing. When I was on 3 hits, I was like, well, that's 12 points, but 4. But it's like, so I've thrown 16 points to the wall, and I still haven't played my wildcard, which is kind of like,
yeah.
But the way I look at it is, KDB to Sun, that 4 points is probably going to come back to me with profit because of the Spurs fixtures to come, and Sun could be a captain in any of the next 4. Really, it could be this week or the 3 after, and. So I think he was coming in anyway, and Sun gives me some money to spend, so I want the free transfer next time. So I think it's just a -8. That's what triggered it for you. If it was a -4, you'd be not playing this, wouldn't you? Yeah,
I think so. And it was looking at Pereira and Havertz in my team, because I thought I'm actually quite happy. I was actually quite happy with them this week. So providing KDB had been fit, looking at Pereira and KDB in my team. So Pereira had Burnley at home. And Havertz had Southampton, and I thought, okay, I've had the captain on Havertz the whole time, but I genuinely was going to do it until I got the KDB injury, and then I thought, well, if Havertz blanks against Southampton at home, that's probably the end of him. It's going to be Pulisic in, because I just don't think I can trust Havertz, and Pulisic is always the one that I've wanted when fully fit. But then I've still got Pereira. So if Pereira blanks against Burnley, suddenly I'm stuck with Pereira, West Brom midfielder, and it's like, okay, it's fine if they both score.
Pereira was all good for you at the start of the season. He's just about to go on a good run of fixtures, so why isn't he all good now?
Well, it's alarming looking at their stats, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
alarming. I mean, we knew that West Brom would struggle to create chances and things like that. But he's been good in terms of points, but he looks like what everyone thought. He looks like a kind of player who's going to be creating things, but with no one really there off the back of it. And I don't think the fixtures are that great. I mean, he's got Brighton after this one, and then Fulham. I mean, I just don't think, I can't see West Brom getting 2 or 3 goals in these games, which I think are probably going to be quite tight, because these are quite key games for them coming up.
Yeah.
So against Chelsea, they can kind of throw caution to the wind a bit and really go for it.
It's a free hit.
Are they going to do that against Brighton, Fulham, and Burnley? I don't really know. And even if they do, it doesn't strike me. They really
they got Grant in today. So they've got a bit more firepower. I think he's a useful player, Grant. Whether or not he's going to be able to raise it in the Premier League, he looked all right when he was up with Huddersfield. He got some goals for them. So I think they've got a bit more of a cutting edge now.
But fair enough. But if you're asking like Pereira versus Grealish, or
you go Trossard as well ahead of Pereira, I think, if in a wild card. I think if you had a 6 million midfielder, which you haven't, I look at that, and the main thing that leaps out at me is no Villa, and I just think, I mean, maybe we're overhyping Villa, right? There's people in there saying he's Grealish being overhyped, and this is the danger, right? I've got him, right? So I think it's dangerous for me because he got me those 24 points, and now, of course, I'm wedded to him, and he could go on a run of blanks now, and I probably still hold him in memory of that 24 points. So that's the trouble. When a player does well for you and gets you that kind of, that hipster pick, as Joe likes to say, it's true. It is a factor, right? If a player pulls out the hat for you and you go, oh wow, that was a game week I'll never forget, you kind of are loyal to him then for a long time. So I worry about me recommending Grealish, but I don't think I'm wrong in saying that I think he could be a real star.
I don't think so. I think doing the FPL show over yesterday, it was great when they had the graphic. If anyone hasn't seen it, I recommend you just go on the FPL website and find it, because Mark and James talking about Grealish. I mean, you look at the amount of touches he's had in the box, and compare that to Havertz, who's had what, 3
Six.
or 4?
He's had six.
Six. There you go. And Grealish had what, like
28 in 3 games. Yeah, so
it's outrageous. And I really liked what you were saying about how when you watch him, and because he's not getting marked so much by all the players, because he's not the only player there that can do something anymore, it just frees up space for him just to lay the ball off to players, and they get into space and they shoot, or they do their own thing. And I think you're right, he's going to pick up assists just from doing simple stuff, whereas last year when he did well anyway, he was the one kind of having to do everything himself. So I don't think you can go wrong with Grealish in your team. The question is, if I do Fernandes to Grealish, that gives me what, 3.4 million. What the hell do I do with that?
Well, Andy's in the chat tonight and he's saying Fernandes, he's lost it. I presume is he talking about Fernandes has lost it, or is he talking about you? I'm not sure.
Well, probably
Andy, please
probably
clarify. Probably both. Yeah. I mean, if Andy, I know Andy's pretty down on United this season. I think that's the one slot that I'm thinking you're going to be changing in the next 12 hours. It's 12 hours? It's always 12
put
hours.
My big red borders around. Fernandes and Antonio, they were the ones. Because I could just do Antonio to Watkins, and that would give me the Villa sort of attacking coverage.
Yeah.
I do want Antonio in for that game week 8. That game week 8 Fulham match. Fernandes is a funny one because he's the only one at United where I just think he can just get something just from nothing.
And you don't fancy this Rashford then? Rashford could be up front, and you like Rashford at the start of the season?
I do, and I do quite like it. I think it could be a smart move, but he just hasn't got those set pieces that I know Fernandes. Like you say, Tellez is interesting. It's going to be interesting if he comes in and takes them off him. Really, Grealish is appealing, and the trouble is I don't want BlackBox to kind of like influence me that much, because it kind of feels like, oh, you picked him, he's yours. If I get him, it's going to be like, oh, just copying Mark and all that. But like, you can't really.
Don't do that.
I do think he is a really, really strong option, and I think Watkins and Barkley and all these other kind of players, they feel like coverage for Grealish when he is the main man there.
Yeah.
So that's the danger of.
See, I think I would have Grealish, over Fernandes, and then how much does that give you? Oh, I need a drink now. Watching you something.
About 3 million. So that's why I'm thinking Antonio to Werner.
Yeah,
look at that. Alistair Rattray as 3.5 million overall ranking. Screw you, Alistair.
I think I would go Fernandes to Grealish, Antonio to Werner, Captain Werner.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm really tempted to do. I genuinely think this guy, I've said it for 2 weeks. I'm getting so sick of repeating myself against this bloody Southampton high line. But I'm going to say it one more time. When I watched Werner against Palace, I saw a man who wanted to get in behind the defence. And what I saw from Chelsea...
What about Werner? What about him? Hey? Oh, you're talking about Werner.
I'm talking about Werner. That's what I saw. I saw a man who... just looked so frustrated with the fact that Chelsea's players were just constantly passing it sideways when he was making great moves and great runs.
Yeah, because they're not looking for him, because they're not used to that system, are they? It's not just gonna. It doesn't. You don't get on the pitch with 11 players and it just clicks. So Lampard's got to work at that, and so
that's true. That is true. But when he's got more space, in theory, to operate that, and he's got Pulisic and possibly Ziyech as well. And he's playing up front, because surely he's not going to play Abraham again with Pulisic. He can't play Abraham, Pulisic, and Werner.
Yeah, but
we've established that it just can't happen.
One thing, I'm in two minds here, because one thing is, like, Southampton won 2-0 there last year. They didn't play Ings. I think Obafemi got a goal. I can't remember who got the first one, but Southampton have got a decent record at Stamford Bridge, and so Ralph knows how to go there and defend and get a win. So I don't think it's a pushover. So everyone's talking about, well, not everyone, you're talking about the Southampton high line.
Just me constantly.
But I think, I don't know what the chat thinks, but I think it's not cut and dry that Chelsea get a win there, I don't think. And I also thought Chelsea against Palace, they won 4-0. I don't think they were brilliant by any means.
They weren't. No, absolutely. No, I don't. But I as I said, I don't think that wasn't an easy game for them. And I think they were playing quite a patient game, because they they were looking at Palace and thinking we need to kind of bide our time and wait for the right moment to kind of strike through. Whereas I think against Southampton, it's going to be more open. I fancy Southampton to get at least a goal or two in that match, especially considering Chelsea's defense. With Thiago Silva and Mendy not in the team, so I think Chelsea are going to have to attack them. It's not going to be easy, but I think it's going to create more space for their players. And I honestly, I really do like Werner, the look of Werner in this game. I think it's a good match for him.
If you got Werner in for Antonio, would you put the armband on him over Pulisic or over Son?
I think it's got to be Son.
You're going to go Son, right?
I think so. I'd like to back myself that much, but if I already had Pulisic and Werner, that seems like I've kind of got quite a lot of my bases covered with Chelsea.
Yeah, the only thing for me is if I was playing the wild card, I'd want to use it to my advantage and get a player in who could be a good captain punt for me, because I think that Salah would be most captained. And Son won't be far behind. So it's almost like, well, if you're not using a wild card and as part of that getting a differential captain in, it's a wasted opportunity. I don't know. See what the chat say, but that's what I think about it. And so I'd be tempted to do the Werner thing. But
no, FPL Fozzie, I didn't say coverage. I didn't use the word coverage.
Did you say coverage?
No, I deliberately tried to not say coverage, but
keep watching. You'll say it eventually.
Weirdly, was kind of saying coverage. But yeah, I mean, someone else in the chat says, "Why are you okay with double Chelsea and not double Spurs?" Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Well, I guess you're thinking Chelsea are going to click and in a big way, and we've already seen the best of Spurs. Is that?
That's it. Fair? That is it. I kind of feel like I'm not. I mean, I'm not a Chelsea fan. I don't like Chelsea, but I do like the players that Lampard's got kind of at his disposal, and I do kind of feel like maybe Spurs are playing at the best they're going to play. I mean, the fixtures are great for Spurs, which is good. But the other thing is that they're cheaper. So Pulisic and Werner does cost less than Son and Kane anyway. I think Pulisic in particular is just great value at 8.3. Werner, I'll admit, I mean 9.3. He doesn't look like he's justifying that, but like we said, if I do Fernandes to Grealish and have that 3 million, it's kind of, I don't really know what to do with it.
Well, James Harding saying he still think you can wait on Pulisic. Not sure how he will fit into the system where Werner and Havertz struggling, and that is the point, right? I keep saying I want to see how Pulisic and Werner is going to work. See, we know what great player Pulisic can be, right? And we can imagine him in that Chelsea team coming in fully fit and hitting the ground running, goals and assists, fine. But what I struggle with is how it's going to work with Werner, as I said. And, at the moment, I still look at Chelsea and think Werner and Havertz still don't really know the system and where they fit in. And, they're passing sideways because they don't know where to look for players further forward. And they're just recycling the ball until there's an opening.
Yeah.
Eventually, when it clicks, they'll be making more incisive passes because they'll know the system and who's going to be where. But at the moment, it doesn't seem to be. And I don't think just because Pulisic is fit, it's going to go smoothly for Chelsea. As in, we're going to see great interplay between Werner, Havertz, and Pulisic from day one. So, do you not think you want to give yourself time on Pulisic? Has James got a point?
No,
right.
because
sorry, James. Because I thought it was a good point, but
well, I think it's a bit different to judge Havertz and Werner, because I mean we saw comments from Havertz in the week saying he is struggling to adjust a bit to the Premier League. He's finding the pace of it hard and that kind of thing. Whereas Pulisic had that, I think, at the start of last season, but then showed through the rest of the season that he's more than capable of creating things. And he strikes me as the kind of exact player that they need at the moment, like someone who can really burst through defenses and create. So I don't think Pulisic is going to. I think Pulisic, if he is fit, which he looks like he is, I think he straight away becomes the best option there by far.
If he stays fit as well, that's the other.
And if he stays fit, yeah. But I mean, he playing minutes before the international break. I know he only played about 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, but obviously fit enough to come off the bench for that. And then had a whole international break, no minutes at all for the USA. Been training, the whole time, and then straight in the team, it looks like, against Southampton. So no, I haven't got any worries about Pulisic. My worries more are around selling Havertz, because
Really?
I do think from what I've seen of him, I know his shot count is incredibly low, but he has looked better. And I do think, he's a 75 million player who's one of the best players in the Bundesliga, and he's pulling the strings.
And it would be ironic, wouldn't it, if you play your wildcard, get Pulisic in, and Havertz does go and bang.
If Havertz scores a hat-trick and I had him captained until today, I will cry.
What would you do? Okay, just tears. I think I'd probably go further than that, right?
Well, that will be the start, and then we'll see where it leads.
Overall, though, what I'm thinking is I look at this team and I think it's not that. I don't look at that and think you needed to play the wild card to get to this. That's the problem. Like when I play a wild card, I like my team to look completely different to what's out there. And I look at this, and the only thing that's different to teams that have wildcarded previously is Pulisic and Antonio, I think. Everything else, I think, looks similar to a wildcard 2 or wildcard 3
That's
team.
all good and well, but if I'm constantly having to take hits just to get to this stage, then it's not much help, is it?
No, I know. It's just a shame. I think it's a shame that has to be the case. I think you're right in playing it, but I just think it's, ideally you'd be able to give it a couple more weeks, and then you could have been a bit more maverick with it. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think that's, we had Josh on the FPL. I say they had Josh on the FPL show yesterday, and he's talking about playing the wild card from a position of strength. So he had quite a decent team. He's 250k. This is Josh from Always Cheating podcast.
Josh Landon, yeah. So he had a good team, obviously up to 250k. He's played the wild card. He's got double Spurs attack. He's moved some players around, and his team, like you say, doesn't look that much different to a lot of other teams that we kind of see. But it's nice to use your wildcard to try and get ahead of the curve rather than playing it from a position of kind of weakness. But at the same time, I think if you need it, I mean, like I said, being on a -8, 2.8 million. I mean, the -8 puts me down into the 3 million mark. There's something not going right. How much more time do I give some of these players? And I do feel like with Pulisic coming in, it at least gives me that kind of different spark. And he's the one I wanted over Havertz anyway from the start. Just the injury was the problem. Yeah, I'm disappointed you're not going to put the captaincy on somebody else though, other than Son, because I think that's where I
don't like that. I don't like you being disappointed in me.
It's just because if I was wildcarding, I'd like to use that as an opportunity to get me a captain that could make the difference for me. And you said yourself, this week is a week where you can take a punt on a captain, and then you play your wildcard and you're leaving it on Son, which is a bit meh, I think. But,
well, the other options are Pulisic or Werner.
Yeah, and that's why I think I'd do it. I think I'd do Werner.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there isn't really anyone else that I like the look of captain-wise. If I had my pick of every player in the entire league,
Andy's saying, "Don't let Mark play games. Captain the best option." I'm not playing games, Andy. I'm just for entertainment's sake. I'm trying to I'm playing devil's advocate, because if I sat here and said, "Oh, that's brilliant. That's great," it'd be, well, good night, folks. Thanks for the stream, wouldn't it? So,
Andy's been on all day. He's been at me quoting stats about Havertz. He's loving this. I've played the wild card, but he's been messaging me today. He's been panicking just as much as I have. I'm surprised he hasn't bought out a stream tonight talking about his panic wild card, and then I could slate him for it.
Has he wild carded?
No, I don't think so. Right. Well, he's either on a -8 or he's wild carded. So either way, he's an idiot like I am. So I don't know why he's mouthing off like he always does.
So the two on the tightrope, just to recap, are Fernandes and Antonio. So how close are you to changing them?
Oh, they could be anyone. They could be anyone, honestly. They could literally be anyone. I'm not entirely sold on Fernandes Antonio because Man U were crap and Antonio has really tough games. It could be Bale because I've had a few beers. Why not? Let's do another Poland. chuck some of that. I'll tell you who else I was considering as well. Mahrez.
Yeah.
Because with De Bruyne out, Foden's going to come back into that kind of role, and then Mahrez is going to be on the wing.
What are City going to have against? I worry about City against Arsenal now. I think Arsenal might fancy getting something out of that game, to be honest.
Yeah.
If I had Sterling, I'd be, it's not great, is it? Because now You're missing De Bruyne.
Who's feeding him?
Yeah,
And this is exactly where, David Silva is such an important part, because De Bruyne's out, like he was a couple of seasons ago, and you look to him to be the person who's kind of chief curator, and with him not around, it's going to fall to Foden to do that. And
it's true. I think it was you the other day said, perhaps they're missing David Silva more than they think.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's only when you said that I was like, oh yeah, there's no David Silva. I hadn't really factored into that before.
Well, I think everyone just assumed that Foden was going to come in and just be the next David Silva,
exactly,
and that was it, and it was fine. And don't get me wrong, Foden's fantastic on his day, but he's not world class. Like, he's voted City's best ever player for a reason, because of what he's done consistently over seasons. And it's a big mantle for Foden to kind of take. So I think it probably has hurt them more than people might have thought.
Well, David Tucker saying Mahrez is a great shout. He likes it. I don't know about anybody else in there, but don't know. I think you've got to do Fernandes and Antonio out. I think Antonio's time is coming, right? But it's not yet. He might get a goal or two in the next 3, but the fixtures are tough. I think he'll do all right at Spurs, to be honest. I think if the goal is going to come in the next 3, it'll probably come at Spurs. But so he's all right for this week. I think he's a good pick for this week. But it's just, I want to see something more Maverick, and those are the 2 slots that you're thinking about changing. That's what I'd use to do it. But then Grealish isn't Maverick, of course, I guess. But.
No. But I think every other slot I can make a really solid case for. Dal Stevens, okay, probably not him.
I haven't got to him yet. I was saving him for later. But, yeah.
Well, Mopé, Calvert-Lewin, Lamptey, Alexander-Arnold, Eiling, Martinez, Semedo. I can Pulisic, Salah. I can Son. They're all solid picks. But
what about Calvert-Lewin? Did you think twice about going without him? Because I think if I was wildcarding, I think that's a slot there where I'd go to differentiate my team against the high ownership. I wouldn't go Calvert-Lewin.
Oh, really? Come on.
I've seen a few people. I think James said it on Planet FPL tonight when he did his live stream that if he wildcarded, he wouldn't go him. And I thought to myself, I think I'd think twice.
What's the logic there? He's a high scoring. He's in great form. The fixtures are good. He's everything. His price is going up every week. Like he's 7.5 million. He's not even like he's a premium player.
The logic is that we've missed his best run of form, and he'll regress now.
It's such a dangerous game to
play,
though, isn't it?
No,
trying to predict when a striker is going to run out. I mean, that has burnt. I mean, how many times has that burnt people? I've taken out. I remember Ighalo a few seasons ago. Like do you remember when he was banging goal after goal after goal for Watford, and then he had a run, I think, of like Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs or something like that, and everyone was like, well, okay, he scored in the last 5 matches, but he's definitely not going to score against these 3 teams. I think he got a brace against Liverpool in the next game. The
FPL fan show boys are in. They agree with you. Calvert-Lewin, great long-term pick at that price. Of course he is, right? And I'm just playing devil's advocate to try and get this out.
You're trying to get in my head. Yeah. I know. I'm watching enough scout cards of you and Granville, Mark.
Whatsoever. What would I have to gain? But
you know exactly what you've got to gain. Yeah, I'll rank on this.
But I know where I'm blaming James here because he said this. I don't think he's in the chat, but he did say this. He said he wouldn't go Calvert-Lewin, and it made me think. And I just think one of my criteria when I'm playing my wild card is I look at ownership and I go, right, I cover the dangerous ones. So obviously you've got to go Salah, but if there's a player there who has a chance of regressing, who has a high ownership, I'd maybe gamble on getting off him and on a different route.
Yeah, but that's not Calvert-Lewin.
You don't think that's Calvert? You don't think there's regression at all? Then
I don't think there is. I mean, if anything, I think that this is the start of something pretty remarkable for him, because we look at Chelsea and we think how long it's taken for them to get their team sorted. With Ziyech coming in, Pulisic, and we're saying, it's going to take time for them to gel. You look at Everton. I mean, entirely new midfield.
Yeah, I know.
Calvert-Lewin in a new role. You got Rodriguez on the right. No one knew how he was going to fit in, and suddenly they're unbeaten in the first 4 games and looking absolutely fantastic going forward. So, if anything, I think that Everton are just going to continue.
I said it on the show last night. I agree. I didn't agree with what Danny Jameson said. I think he could get 20 goals, right? Yeah. So I'm not sold on the idea that he'll regress too much either. But I'm just saying now, if I was again. when I play the wildcard, I want to try. I am willing to take a few risks in order to get ahead, because like you're 2.8 million, right? Okay, so you've got to think to yourself, in order to gain rank, maybe it's so early you don't have to think like this, and it probably is so early. If we were in game week 15 or 16 and you were playing it then, that's when you perhaps want to go against the grain a bit. Maybe now you don't have to. But I just think when I'm playing the wildcard, I look for opportunities to jump off players early and take that gamble. And the only one you could do it with, I don't think you do it with Salah, is Calvert-Lewin or Trent maybe, but I've already written an article saying
I don't necessarily agree, because I think, again, you can look at things from like a kind of Twitter bubble and what fit players have got. But I mean, apart from Salah, Calvert-Lewin, and Son, I think a lot of the other players I've got are players who not everyone's got. So I mean, lots of people are jumping off Alexander-Arnold anyway, which I think is completely crazy. And we talked about it yesterday. But yeah, I think Alexander-Arnold is going to remain good. So he's just a lock-in. There's no chance I'm going to be selling him. Semedo is based on what I know about Wolves and what I've seen so far from him. I think he's going to be a good option. Lamptey, okay, a lot of people own now, but I think looking at my 3 playing defenders every week, they're the three like proper attacking fullback / wingback options. So that is what I'm getting from those 3. I'm getting in sort of 3 of the most attacking defenders that I can get. And then in midfield, I mean, Pulisic is someone who not many people are going to have unless they are wildcarding.
Yeah.
Salah's a lock-in because he's Salah.
Son's a lock-in.
Son's hard to argue with because of the fixtures he's got, and then that 4th spot is up for grabs at the moment. It could be one of sort of 6 or 7 players. And then up front, I mean, Mopé is still, I think, flying under the radar. Still don't see many teams.
I'd go Brewster and free the money up, but we've already had that debate, haven't we?
But that is the other option, because I could do that.
That's what I'd do. I mean, I look at that. Yeah, I mean, you're setting up 3-4-3 every week, right? I guess.
No, 3-4-3. Yeah.
See, I'd probably go Mopé to Brewster, Fernandes to Grealish, and then see what that left me. That probably leaves you Antonio to Kane if you wanted to, but
there's absolutely no way I'm losing Mopé. There's no way. There's just no way. I
tried, folks.
He's honestly he's good. I've been really impressed with him so far.
I know he's good.
The option is I do Antonio. I move Stevens, Fernandes, and Antonio. I bring in Brewster, and I bring in like Grealish and I don't want to say Havertz, but Havertz. Stick with him. Stick with him.
Yeah, Okay, you're going to make a change live on stream? Like Andy's saying he's hovering over the button. Andy, get on Zoom. I'll pop your head in here. We'll have a freeway. Come on, get in.
Come on, Andy. Put your money where your mouth
Press
is.
The button. We'll do it now. Yeah. Let's do it now.
A few people saying about Havertz. This still Percy. Havertz captain in the bin. Well, yeah, he is at the moment because I haven't got him, so it's hard to captain him.
Everyone's saying, "Come on, Andy, get in there." I've called him out there. I've called him out. Yeah. We're up for it. I'll send you the link, Andy. All right, and you join us.
Oh, Andy, you're in your dressing gown. Imagine the view count.
Yeah, I'll knock up. Yeah, absolutely.
Sore.
All those deadlifts he's been doing. I want to. How's the back, Andy? That's what I want to hear. I saw him. As I said to you, I saw him the other night. He kicked over his lamp while doing a live stream. He was having a mare. It was brilliant. So I'd love to get him on.
And he got his sons round the wrong way. Called his son
son.
Son.
It's got gold. That was makes us look professional on our first one. This is. But, yeah, I mean, are you going to make changes tonight before bed, or are you going to? I don't know what the risers look like tonight, or are you going to wait for the morning?
Let me tell you who the risers are tonight.
I'm going to get my drink. Answer a few questions.
You get your drink.
Yeah,
I'll answer a few questions. So the risers tonight are Son, Kane, Rodriguez, Calvert-Lewin, Sace, potentially Watkins. So I've got a lot of them. I've already got Son, got Calvert-Lewin. Rodriguez probably isn't going to play against Liverpool, I don't think. I don't want Kane. So I mean, I could do Semedo to Sace, but I don't really want to. So no, I don't really know. Grealish is the obvious one, isn't he? That I should probably get. Fernandes to Grealish seems to make sense. That would give me some money to upgrade Stevens as well. But yeah, it's tough. Come on then. I haven't seen too much of the chat. What do you reckon? Awful wildcard. The chat is great. 1,200 people watching this. Guys, I need to go to bed. It's amazing what coronavirus can do to people watching two blokes talk about fantasy football at
I know. It's
half 11 on a Friday.
The thing is, I was sitting there going, oh, well, I hope there's a stream tonight because I fancy watching some FPL stuff because, it's international break and FPL's back and you want to, I don't know, I just want to take in more content. And I've almost watched everything now that I could. And I know Andy did his, and so I thought, no one's doing a live stream. That's why I texted you. I thought, well, let's do one. If you're playing your wildcard, let's do it. But people want it, right? I think there's enough people out there like us who don't really want to switch off, really. They just want to keep going until
all nighter. Woo!
Yeah, I'm not. Well, it is Coke. It's probably going to keep me awake anyway. But yeah. So what
Andy
are you saying?
Says he's ready. Andy wants to come on.
Well, I'll send in the Zoom. Right.
Send him the link.
I'll send in the Zoom. Let's get him in the call. It'll go haywire on here, but that doesn't matter. People have put up with that a bit. Let me get the Zoom call open.
I like your team, as thank you. See, it's nice. To
Who's saying that? Who's saying that? Andy? Oh no, not Andy.
No, definitely not Andy. Abdullah Mohammed says, "I like your team, as thank you very much. Appreciate
Did he?
that."
Right.
Yeah.
Right, Andy. I'm just sending you the Zoom link now. Hold on.
Odds on Andy being more pissed than us. Ross Johnson.
I hope you're on the same email address, Andy. I'm not going to read it out here. Don't worry. But
Lars says, "I like you, as, but not your team." Cheers, mate.
Well, I've sent Andy the link. Andy, if you don't get that email, let us know on chat. Basically,
I reckon Andy's lying to us. This is what he does.
He's not going to turn up.
He's all talk and all fart, no poo. You know?
I think he's going to turn up. I want to see what his dressing gown's like. Is he a slipper?
I reckon it's like a blue fluffy one.
Is he is Andy a pajamas man or not? See, I've never worn pajamas myself. Do you reckon Andy is?
No,
I think Andy.
don't think
No,
so.
I don't think he is. Do you reckon he's a slippers man or just socks? I don't wear slippers either. This is important, right? We've got to get.
No, I reckon slippers.
I reckon he's slippers. Yeah,
slippers and a big blue fluffy dressing gown. That's mine.
Yeah, we'll find out, won't we?
George Lyle says, "As your team stinks worse than Dyer." That's harsh.
You do get a lot of flack on the chat. I noticed. Even during the mid, you got some cheek the other night, and I think it's a bit unfair. You're definitely you're definitely.
I'm targeted.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I think it's because I felt a bit it didn't feel like me on the last black box because I don't like to sit on the fence, but when you predict every game to be 1-1, it can harm your reputation as someone who
I don't really know why you were doing that, but I didn't quite understand.
Because I don't know what to predict. Would you rather I just said random things like West Ham are going to thrash Spurs?
Yes, I was like,
Newcastle are going to thrash United.
We were talking the other night. You got to put yourself out there. You got to you can't take some risks with it. And I think Southampton will get the draw and West Ham will beat Spurs. That's what I'm saying.
See, I disagree.
Well, that's all right. Oh, Andy's arrived. So I'm letting him in, and then I'll have to dick around with the screen a bit. But he's coming in now. There he is. So bear with us, folks. There he is. He's got a green screen. Oh,
where's the dressing gown?
Hold on. Let me.
I got changed, didn't I? Come on.
Oh.
That was for the delay, was it? Okay. We can hear you, but I'll just get the free head. We're back now. We're back now. There we go. We're back. They can hear us now.
Anti RIP the stream.
I mean, my internet is pretty dodgy.
And there we go. They can hear us now, but I'll just fiddle around with the images while you do some talking there. So
I'm Granville now. I like it.
Yeah, not quite.
They say horrible things about the people in the chat while they think we can't.
Can you make sure they can hear us while I dick around with the images and stuff? So you'll be Granville for a bit. So sorry about this, Andy.
I can't see your team anymore. What the hell's going on with Fernandez?
Right. I'll get the team in there.
He's just in because I'm panicking. All right.
How many beers have you had?
I've had some. I don't want to put a number. I don't like to quantify these types of things, but there's been some beers drunk. I mean, Fernandes is in because surely United are going to beat Newcastle, right?
Doubt it.
You don't think really? You don't think they're going to beat Newcastle? Jesus Christ!
I mean, they're about to play Chelsea, Arsenal, and Everton after that. That could be 3 losses the way they're going. Yeah, I never liked Fernandes anyway at the start of the season. I definitely don't like him anymore now I've seen us play.
Because I would have said last year that the tougher games you did pretty well in, didn't you? Like you had a good record against teams like City and Spurs and
I think we beat
Arsenal.
City twice.
Yeah, exactly. So if going into that Spurs game, I thought actually this could be quite good for.
No Martial though.
I've got the team up there so you can see the team. I'm just going to get out.
We full screen it. What I think is going on here is there's a lot of overthinking just to not have Harry Kane.
I don't want him.
Why?
Because I don't trust him.
He's like nearly the same price as Fernandes. Much better option.
I don't want to put a fifth of my budget into 2 Spurs attackers. Is the other reason as well. I just don't think they're that good.
Not at all. But you got Son.
Yeah, because I think one is fine. I think one is sensible to do given the fixtures they've got and the form they've shown. But 2, really, I don't know.
But I think you've got to think about it is you've already got Son. Is Fernandes a better option than Kane? Absolutely not. Not right now, anyway.
Yeah.
Not for the next 4 fixtures.
I think he's got a point.
But it's not just Fernandes v Kane, is it? Because it's then. Well,
it's Brewster plus you'd have to get rid of Antonio or more pay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the problem with Antonio is, like, we're all bigging him up for game week 8. What if he gets injured between now and then? That's when everyone really wants him. Next 3 probably doesn't matter that much.
Well, this is it. This is why I keep saying Fernandes and Antonio. They're just in. They're not like everyone else. I'm pretty happy with. They're just 2 which are just there. I mean, Fernandes. The other argument with Fernandes is all we've seen from him is basic stuff. Like he got a dodgy assist, I think, where he gave the ball to someone and they just ran down the pitch and scored, and then he's got a couple of penalties. But that's surely not all he's going to bring to United. Like he
did, like I said at the start, he did overperform last year. Like he's obviously came in. He's a decent player. Like he was good for us, but his numbers weren't. He was really bulked up by penalties. So if he keeps getting those penalties, then it'd be worth 10.5 million. If he doesn't, like it's just so much money to spend on him. I mean, it doesn't mean you can go to pretty much any other midfielder apart from the City boys, but I'm sure you've already covered this. Like you can probably get away with them. I don't know, for at least 4 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about Mahrez.
Yeah. What do you think to that, Andy? What do you think to Mahrez? I think it's.
The problem with City is I feel like it's a bit like it's almost like Chelsea right now. They should do really well, right? It's Man City, but they don't have Aguero potentially. They don't have Jesus. They don't have De Bruyne. They don't have David Silva. Like it's not the same team as like the end of last season. So, I mean, it's still Man City, right? So they should do something. But I mean, Mahrez instead of Fernandes, what do you do with the extra money then?
Well, this is it. And if I do Fernandes to Grealish, which I think is probably the most likely of the changes, it's then I've got 3 million to spend. And I don't really know what to do with it. I mean, I could upgrade Stevens to like Souček, so I've got a decent bench option. But then Mark and I were talking about Werner, and that feels like a.
You can transfer Werner out and wildcard him back in.
Yeah, I can. So I've saved point. I've saved point. I've saved 0.1. I like Werner. I don't think Werner's suddenly a bad player.
You don't fancy Werner then, Andy, at all?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he transferred him out. And now he's wild carding him in. All I'm saying is, imagine if Joe did that on the Scoutcast. What you'd say to him?
I'd say, well done, Joe. You've been very smart. You've saved 0.1 million. You really get this game, and I idolise you. That's what I'd be saying.
All I'm saying is, a lot of the FPL community are hoping Southampton have stood on that halfway line for the whole game.
I know.
Well, I think, I mean, they won there last year, didn't they, as I said, right? So I think there's actually a chance that they might do that. That they might actually put on a show.
Mike Garcia, I think, has now realises he made a mistake on his wild card. No, I haven't made a mistake doing the wild card. The wild card makes sense. It's just, this is why we're here. This is a support group to try
Isn't
and
it fun
help
doing
me.
live streams with people telling you you've got all your decisions wrong?
I know.
You've got to get used to that, I think, as.
It's quite fun though. I don't know why Joe was against this kind of thing. I'm having a good time. I think until Andy came on.
So Andy, you're adamant he needs to get rid of Fernandes. As a United fan, that's what you're saying, then, is it?
I just don't, I mean, I haven't really changed my tune on him since the start of the season. What have we seen so far that makes him a better pick than game week one?
It's got to be Grealish, isn't it? I think Grealish is. The more I think about this team, and the more I think about logically who to get, the more I sway towards Grealish.
I mean, I did a wildcard draft, so I didn't have Grealish, but that's because I had James Rodriguez, and I've had him since 7.5. So it's a bit like Mark was saying earlier. Like, he got his 24-point haul from Grealish, so you can't get rid of him now. And James Rodriguez got me 2 double-figure hauls, twice already. So that's the only difference, really. I think I had Kane in as well. So, but I know you don't like Kane.
So, hey, let's come to you, Andy. So you're on a -8.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going with the -8 then, are you?
You're going with the -8.
The thing is, I was already on a -4, so I've kind of accepted that I've lost those 4 points anyway. The risk was obviously doing early transfers is always a risk because of this. This has happened. This is the 3rd time I've done early transfers. This is the first time I've been stung by it. And De Bruyne to Son just seems, I'm okay with that for -4. It's either that or play Ayling. So I'm just getting
So,
Son.
Andy, you are currently 468,000 in the world. So I'd say, given what has been going on so far, that is a pretty respectable place to be in, right? I'm 3 million in the world. So
how many points? You're only 50. It's 50 points, I think, difference.
50 points at this stage feels like a lot. And like I was saying to Mark, I don't know if you saw, but I kind of feel like if I took the -8, you take the -8, I think your team's in good shape. I take the -8 and I still see players in my team like Havertz and Pereira that I'm not happy with. So it just feels like every week I'm going to be taking hits to like move these guys out.
I'm not sure mine is that. I mean, I've taken a -8 and I've still got Foden, I've still got Jimenez, I've still got Luka Dean, who I'm okay with for now, but I know at some point I'm going to want the money from him because I don't like my team structures. So I've taken a -8 and there's still plenty of players that I.
But surely Foden's a better option now. De Bruyne's out for a bit because he's going to be the one that is tasked with being the creative player in the field, right?
I mean, maybe, but I would look at. I mean, it depends how you frame it, doesn't it? I would look at it and say, Man City with De Bruyne are just a weaker team, and Arsenal. I mean, I think Arsenal's a good fixture for them, but Arsenal are going to be thinking now if it's a good time to play City, it's right now. With no Aguero, no De Bruyne.
I see Planet FPL are in. So if that's James, right? Talk as into not having Calvert-Lewin, James, because I heard you earlier saying about that, and I'm charted.
It's not going to happen.
You can I'm not having that. You can't.
I've always said from the start of the season that Calvert-Lewin is going to get 20 goals this season. So
sorry, Landy.
You don't buy that, Andy. You don't buy the 20 goals for Calvert-Lewin.
No, Andy's always said he's flash in the pan. He's got 2-3 good games in him, and that's going to be it. And I've said, Andy, look, don't be so horrible to Dominic. He's a good player. You're being harsh, and
you're his biggest fan.
We have every week.
You've had him from the start, right? And I remember when I saw your initial lineup, I said he was the one I was worried about. I thought it was a good pick.
Well, I said the same thing. I said, I said something different. I said like a couple of times I was like talking about like you had double Liverpool defense. I remember saying I could have that, but Calvert-Lewin's holding me back. But I said I've talked about him so much now, I have to keep him. But I do think he's going to regress because. Just like Son and Kane will as well, but I still think all 3 are good picks. I don't think they're making bad picks. Like Bamford, for example, is someone I would say is going to regress to a point where he's not a great option.
Yeah.
Calvert-Lewin, Son and Kane, not the same for me.
Well, James says he's DM'd you, as so you can have your lot of kind of one-to-one chat, and he'll talk you into it. Right.
When you see me without Calvert-Lewin tomorrow, you'll know that James had his.
To be fair, he did say earlier. Just because he wouldn't do it doesn't mean Az shouldn't.
No, of course not. No, I'm playing games with Az, aren't I? I know.
I'll tell you who your man is.
I'm going to end up with.
Here's what you do. You get rid of Antonio for now.
Yeah.
All right. And in game week 8, more pay as your way into Antonio.
Yeah.
And you go 3-5-2 and you do Fernandes and Stevens to Grealish and Bale. And Bale is your big differential.
Yeah. See, that's the talk. That's what I want to hear. That's. Yeah, what you've done there, Andy, is
God,
play to his. You've played to his Bale weakness there. That's clever.
Yeah, that's
I should have thought of that. I brought Andy in, and he's hit the spot there. He's gone right. What's Az's weakness, Bale? Yeah, and he's gone straight to it, and it's working.
I think I just I talked about crying earlier if it all went wrong. I think I'd just cry if I brought Bale in and he scored. I think just tears of joy would just like stream down my face.
I do feel for you a bit because like Wildcard in on a Friday after we've just had a 2-week break is just madness.
It is.
Everyone's going to go through your head, but in like double quick time.
Yeah.
Well, do you know, it's quite nice that I do feel like I have narrowed it down at least to 2 players. Like at least it's not my whole team that I'm debating ins and outs. It feels like Fernandez and Antonio the two weaknesses. I mean, I think I'm pretty set on Grealish now. Then it just depends what I do with the rest of the money. I mean, really, I don't want to spread the money around my team too much. So like I could upgrade Stevens and Mitchell and have some bench options, but then it feels like I'm struggling a bit to maybe bring in City again, like when I want them, or to upgrade. But that's the other route is maybe not to worry about. I mean, I do think this has been a problem, I think, for me in previous seasons, is worrying a bit too much about value. Like, there's a certain like comfort you get when you look at your your money that you've got to spend. You've got 0.0 and you think, oh, I've absolutely nailed this. I've got in the best possible players that I can get with my budget. But really, it's not always the case, is it? I mean, if lower priced players are outscoring premium price players, it's all about points. It doesn't matter how much they cost.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. We pick a team that equals 100 million, like we think, oh, that's the best possible team.
Yeah.
But the best possible team could cost only 90 million for game week
exactly.
one. FPL family are in. I don't know if it's Sam or Lee or both, but good evening, guys. Sam, well, if it is Lee, he's tipping West Ham win with Rice scoring. Oh, he's saying that would ruin FPL Tutty. Yeah, I think West Ham as well. I think you're right. Lee. I think West Ham are going to win that. Just got a feeling about it.
Surely not.
How about Fernandez to Grealish, Stevens to Bale, and Antonio to Brewster?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think you should go Brewster. Yeah.
I do like, and I'm not trying to like wind you up with this because I've been thinking about it myself. Like, put loads of drafts. The thing with Antonio is like, if we weren't wildcard, there's no way we want him right now. I know he could score against anyone, blah blah blah, but ultimately he's got 3 bad fixtures.
Yeah, I know.
And game week 8, and like he is pretty injury prone. Although to be fair, we should probably give him some credit. It's been a while now. And we, a lot of people said last year about Danny Ings, Martial being injury prone. Look what they did. So.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Antonio, but whether he does look, I'm tempting fate here, he does look somewhat indestructible. Like he's doing a lot of sprints, he's getting buffeted every game, and he's really, mixing it with the centre halves, and he's just bouncing off them, and he's getting up every game from every challenge and doing it. He looks, really, really fit. Not just not injury prone anymore, but actually at the top of his fitness, and that's why he's getting goals. That's why he's causing so many problems.
It'd be amazing if he does manage to blank for the next couple and we haven't got him, and then he goes down to like 6.2, 6.1.
Can't happen. He's only going to go up now. I mean, there's people turning up on FPL shows talking about him, and so we're on here every week going how good he is, and people on Twitter.
Maybe we should tone that down a bit.
And maybe we should actually try and do what people accuse us of doing, which is try and affect the meta and talk players down that we're going to bring in. But I think.
Oh, we've got a very, very harsh message on the chat.
Oh yeah.
From where was it? I've lost it now.
Surely there's more than one. You can just pick anyone, can't you?
Adam France, no professionalism on BlackBox. He does say love it, but no professionalism. I resent that.
What is he talking about? My work on the graphics midway through the stream.
I assume he's talking about Andy coming on and
how many live streams go from 2 to 3 seamlessly? I didn't even know Andy was going to turn up. We didn't pre-book.
It's almost like you could have done it when we didn't have Granville on a few weeks ago, Mark, and it was really easy.
Yeah, I know.
It was professionalism anyway. That's why YouTube's so big. They don't like that TV
I watched
crap.
Andy stream the other night, and he kicked over his lamp halfway through the stream, right? So, and that's okay for
I'll have
Andy.
you know, that's a proper professional like that. I just knocked the power cable out.
No, I'm sure you've got the whole kit.
I need to see that. I need to go back and watch that.
I'm going back to your team, as I am disappointed with the defence. I don't know what you can do with it, but I just think that doesn't look like a wildcard defence to me.
Oh, what's wrong with it?
What do you think, Andy?
Well, it's very similar to what I would have, so I kind of like it. I just think.
Thank you for being honest, Andrew. I appreciate that.
The only player I would think about is Chilwell, but you could just have him instead of Semedo if you had any money. But yeah, I like it because Ayling or Leeds and Brighton rotate pretty nicely. And then you've got just Trent and Semedo who you play every week. Job done, I think. I think just the only reason I like that is because there's so many attackers right now. Like, I know you've got Robertson and Trent still. I don't know if I don't think I would do that on a wild card. I've got nothing against them. I'm sure they'll tick over to 200 points and we'll regret it come the end of the season. But it just feels like there's so many attackers to buy right now. Like, I'm already wondering where I get my money for Pulisic. Where do I get my money for Bale, Song, Kane?
Big dog crier on the chat.
Hold on, Andy. Like, KDB's just got injured. So I've got Son in for KDB. I've got 2.4 in the bank. Why do I need to get rid of Robertson and Trent? I've got Robertson and Trent.
You shouldn't get rid of them. But on a wild card,
yeah, come on, then, Mark. Come on, the oracle of good wild card defenses.
I'm just picking a fight to make this interesting.
Who's your dream wild card defense then? If you could have anyone,
I would have Trent and Robertson still, and I'd probably try and get Chilwell in as well. I think I'd take a risk on Chilwell over Semedo. I think
you'd still back the double Liverpool defence even with.
Yeah, because I think it's actually become a little bit of a differential. I think anyone who's played their wild card has either gone just to Trent or not gone any Liverpool at all. So
yeah, because they're sensible.
It's not. No, it's not. You're talking about going Fernandes to Grealish, and then what would I do with the money? What I'd do with the money is I'd go Semedo to Robertson and have the 2 Liverpool. And what you're doing there is you're going to be one of the few wildcards who have 2 Liverpool defenders, and actually that out of nowhere that becomes a differential, and it's a pretty good differential to have.
Well, no, all the people with you who are refusing to use their wildcard already used it and are stuck with them.
No, not necessarily. A lot of people are getting rid of Trent this week.
If you were wildcarding, so say you were wildcarding today, you would keep double Liverpool defence. Yeah. I'm really surprised at that.
I would, because I don't think with KDB injured, you don't need the money in attack because you've got people like Grealish and Antonio.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure that
look
they
at your
offer
forward
good
line, right? You said about you want 3 heavyweight forwards. You've got 3 there. The most expensive is Calvert-Lewin.
Who would you have? Who would you?
I'm saying
who's a premium forward? Who's a premium forward that you'd have over those 3?
My point is, people have said to me, you can't go Trent and Robertson because you need to pump the money into the forward line. You're playing your wild card and you haven't pumped any money into the forward line at all.
I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that I don't think they're as good an option as they were. Like if there's a choice between Robertson or Grealish, I'm picking Grealish every time.
You don't have to make that choice. You can get Robertson and Grealish, can't you? Fernandes to Grealish, Semedo to Robertson. That's what I would do. But only because I think. Go on, Andy. Sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say.
So unprofessional.
Yeah, interrupting the host. What a nightmare.
I'm not the host. He is.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about me. Just go wild.
Then I'll definitely carry on.
Yeah.
The difference the reason my defense was similar to that one is because where my money went in attack was Son, Pulisic, James Rodriguez, Salah. So I basically got James instead of Fernandes, but I would have Kane in there as well, and then it's difficult to have double Liverpool defence. But if you're not having Kane, then Fernandes he's not good value for money. I'd rather have Grealish and the money in the bank, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I'm looking at that defence and I'm thinking I can see enough points from Alexander-Arnold, Semedo, and Lamptey to not have to have double Liverpool defence, who I just don't trust. I know. Obviously, Liverpool have got a good defensive record, and Robertson's going to get attacking returns and stuff. But it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be put in defence. And when it's not just a case of now. It's a case of what if I do want to put more money into other positions? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line.
How difficult is it to go Robertson down to a 4-5 in 1 week? It's just one move, isn't it? So you can. Robertson's a good. All I'm saying is, if you go Fernandes to Grealish, you've got 2.4 in the bank. Why would you do that when you can have Robertson over Semedo? And then at any time you can downgrade Robertson later to free up that money. Isn't the money better spent on Robertson?
The line,
though. Yeah, but
maybe, but
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a personal thing. I don't particularly.
Is.
I don't like in a lot of ways. I don't like defensive double ups. Anyway, it didn't work for me last season. I know it worked for a few people when they got it right, but it didn't work for me, especially around this time. I went for it. I had Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold. Alisson got injured. Adrian was in, and it was awful. They weren't getting enough attacking returns to justify the money that I had in there. And the question marks are, if other options do emerge, and I need to suddenly move my team structure around because I've got expensive defenders, and I don't know, it just on the wild card, I kind of feel like you want to get your structure right so that you don't have to make these kind of quite big 4-point hit moves. I'm trying to reduce the amount of those that I make. So
yeah, but arguably you haven't, because if Aguero comes in and starts firing, you can't go to him. Whereas if you had Kane up front, you could. So what you've done, you've piled all your money into midfield, right? So you're kind of going, that's your structure, isn't it? Mainly, that's where the money sits at the moment with Son and Pulisic and Salah. So I don't know how flexible you're being. I don't really buy into this flexibility thing. As we said the other night, you can do anything in 2 moves anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You can change your team structure radically in 2 transfers. So I don't think you have to get obsessed about, I've got the money where I, in an area that gives me total fluidity with how I set my team up. I don't really buy into that too much. But I do think if you're getting rid of Fernandes, I wouldn't leave 2.4 in the bank. I'd rather go Semedo.
3.4.
Yeah.
Even more.
It's just really interesting that you're like, I don't know. I know it's only been 1 game. You're backing a team which has just conceded however many goals.
Well, they are the champions
goals.
of Europe, the champions of England, and the champions of the world. They are.
Well, they are. But you look at. I mean, I remember saying this to you on the first Black Box. Is how much are they affected by no fans? Because they're a team which benefits massively from having a big crowd behind them, and all we've seen since this whole mess of coronavirus started is them being really average. So
there's been a few mistakes, hasn't there?
They weren't really average against Leeds, I didn't think. I mean, they were tested against Leeds, and they weren't really average last time.
They were lucky against
Leeds.
But
I think it's the mistakes, isn't it? Van Dijk made a mistake against Leeds. Robertson made a mistake against Arsenal. Adrian made a mistake against Villa at the start.
They played well against Arsenal, I thought.
Yeah, they did. It was just that one lapse from Robertson.
Yeah, they're making mistakes. I'll give you that. They're making mistakes.
But that could just be a thing, right? I mean, no one's backing against the Liverpool defence right now.
As is.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
I think attacking wise, I think Liverpool was still, going to be as strong as ever. Yeah. And as David Tucker says in the chat, Thiago's there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Thiago's fantastic because I think he strengthens, Mane and Salah, leaps and bounds when he plays. He's going to be finding them. But I do wonder if the combination of the crowds not being there and the fact that I think teams are going to go for Liverpool more than I think we've seen previously, because they're going to learn from what Villa did, and Leeds tried it.
Hold on. Again, I don't know if Lee's in the chat still. Well, he is, right? Okay, he'll back me up on this. Like against Villa, Liverpool didn't have Mane or Henderson. They're probably their 2 most important players when it comes to the press. So it isn't going to be the same at Everton with those 2 back on the field, I don't think. Teams aren't going to find it as easy to get at Liverpool when the press is at its top performing. And it wasn't at its top performing level without Henderson and Mane. That's my point, right? So I don't think we're going to see a Villa performance again.
The thing is, it's quite a hard thing to actually put a number on, because Robertson's going to be great, but for 1.5, you can, if you think the Chelsea defense is going to improve, you get Chilwell, and then you put that 1.5 into attack. What can that give you? So I do think this season it feels like there's different options you can play this year, where Liverpool double defense isn't essential. But then
it's not essential. No,
but hang on. But in game week 3, I remember me and other people were thinking, right, I need to figure out how I'm getting double Liverpool defense. And then they play Aston Villa, and now it's like, I'll just go with 1 or none.
Yeah, that's it. I don't buy that we can just write it all off, because it made so much sense. And I was seeing people who didn't have 2 Liverpool defenders going, I've got to get Robertson as well. And then all of a sudden, 1 week later, everyone's getting rid. This is what I said in the article. It doesn't make any sense to do that. I'm not saying... All I'm saying it is I think, bizarrely, going 2 Liverpool defenders in this would actually differentiate your wildcard from everybody else's wildcard, because we know that most people with their wildcard are not going double Liverpool defence now, and they may even not have Trent either. And they're just pushing everything into the 8 attacking slots. And as you don't seem to be doing that anyway, as in you're not going heavy up top, I think you maybe should consider getting the 2 Liverpool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would be having my 8 attacking slots filled if I had the team on the screen, because I've got no money in the bank. Fernandes is there. You can argue whether Kane's a better option. That's an interesting point, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I do still think that, whereas at the start of the season I was thinking that defence is the way to go, and players like having Robertson, Trent, Dean, and maybe a Sace or someone like that, and having quite a lot of money at the back was the way to go. I do think that putting the money into the front eight still is the best strategy.
Right. Okay.
It's just trying to work out the best way of doing that. And obviously, when you've got the team here, and I take Fernandes out for Grealish, then I've suddenly got a lot of money to know what to do with. But does that mean I want to kind of put it back into the defence and spread it around my team when I don't think we can write City off like straight away. So in 2 weeks, I might be wanting to get in Sterling or De Bruyne.
Right.
And
So
I
how
don't know,
do you do that? Do you do that? Where's your move to get City back at the moment then with that team?
Well, that's a good question. I've got a plan for that. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the easy option is it's probably Fernandes and Mope out, isn't it, for Sterling and Watkins maybe.
See, if you went Mope out for Brewster, Fernandes out for Grealish, and you went Antonio for Kane, you could retract one of Kane or Son. No, you could get rid of Kane in game week 8 to Antonio, and then you could get City in. No, you're not. Well, I guess you are if you're setting up with.
Yeah. No, I don't like that. Don't like going to play Brewster every week.
Absolutely not.
You've got.
Mark, if you end up tricking me into having
tricking
Brewster as a starting 11 player in my squad, I'll never forgive you.
I don't want that. He should never be a necessary starter, I don't think. But somehow you've managed to get a 15 here that I can't see an obvious. Your obvious formation is 3-4-3, right? But I don't. Your back three aren't that strong. Your back three are Semedo, Lamptey, or Ayling and Trent.
My back three are perfectly fine. Thank you very much. Trent, Semedo, and Lamptey They are free attacker. They can get points in any game. They've got good fixtures and they can get attacker returns in any game. They're completely fine. You don't have to worry.
They're fine.
About those.
They're fine. Yeah, they're not. They're fine. They're not terrible by any means. But
no, they're good. I would go on that they're good. They're not fine. They're good.
Here's your plan. You do Fernandes to Grealish, Antonio to Kane.
Yeah.
And then, although actually, have you got any money in the bank with this team?
Kane, forget Kane. Kane ain't happening, guys. I don't want him. I have got no interest in Kane. He's dead to me. I don't want him.
You might as well just get Robertson then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think as well. Yeah. Fernandes to Grealish, Semedo to Robertson.
That's no. Fernandes to Grealish, fine.
Havertz and Werner back in.
I do miss Havertz. I'm going to be devastated when he scores.
You miss him?
Tomorrow.
It's only been a few hours.
Do you know what? I'm going to love it if he scores because I have him in fan team and
so have I.
To rub it in your face. Oh, do you?
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
Don't start.
I don't really care about fan teams. So
yeah, I was going to say, don't start referring to other teams outside FBL as some kind of compensation. That
I literally couldn't care less about.
It doesn't work.
Even though there's a massive prize for winning it, but I'm already annoyed with that.
I'm doing crap, but my fan team or my Sky team or my Telegraph team, they're doing really well. Yeah, okay, but we don't care about that, do we? Let's face it.
That would be like the you know the picture of like the clown and it's crying. That'd be me. Like, oh, I don't mind Havertz scoring. It's fine.
He's going to score. Well, he's only had one shot in the box, so you'd have to start shooting.
You do realise that the basically the 1,400 people in here, 1,450, nearly 1,500 people, they're all going to be on your case if Havertz does perform tomorrow.
Why are there 1,500 people watching this? It's just me having a breakdown. Is that really entertainment on a Friday evening
people want to turn
midnight?
Yeah, you're not going to give in on Kane then, so definitely not going to do that. So
I don't want him.
Okay.
Why is he wildcarded?
Because he doesn't want to take the -8.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to take a -8 and because I don't want to be stuck with Pereira.
Yeah, Pereira is rubbish.
Is the main reason. I think Pereira might do okay this week, but long term.
No, he's not good.
Long term, he's not good.
I can't believe it. Go back to episode 1 of BlackBox, and you were bigging him up, and West Brom are just about to embark on their best run of fixtures, and you're like, I can't have Pereira.
Yeah, but I've watched him for 4 weeks. I've watched him. He's done well. He's done well. And I think for you. He's done well in the sense that he's had 2 pretty lucky assists for players who have gone the length of the pitch and scored.
I said that
and
to
a world
Mark,
class free kick.
I said, I can't believe he's just jammed a sideways pass assist for.
Get used to it. Grealish is going to do that all season. You watch.
Like you got to watch it with a bit of you can't be completely biased. I can't be sitting here saying I think Pereira has been the best player for West Brom. so far. But I'm not sitting here watching thinking,
No.
oh, he's going to get 150 points this season. You know, West Brom are fantastic. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm actually lucky to have the points I've got from him, and I'm going to run while I can. So
I actually think.
Go on, here's a good one. Static saying, swap Bruno for Trossard and get Kane in for Mope. What about
He's
that?
not coming in.
No, because I'd rather have Mope. I'm not. People need to stop telling me to get rid of Mope. Mope is not going anywhere from this team. So get over it.
So he's locked.
He's there.
We can't get you to Brewster or Kane on Mope.
Or Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin's going nowhere. James has sent you messages, but you're ignoring him. You've muted him.
I'm not even looking at those.
You've blocked James. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I honestly think not going for Kane is going to cause you the biggest headache, because you've only got, like 10 hours to figure it out.
The editor's in. The editor from Fix is in saying, sounds like no one's going anywhere. Yeah, that's right. He's right.
In.
You see,
There's people saying to transfer out Mope. I just have they not watched Brighton this season?
They're trying to help you.
Fantastic, and Mope has been the focal point of all the attacks. Why would Trossard is brilliant, but he's not. There is. I can tell you now. There is absolutely no way Trossard will get as many points as Mope this season. There is no chance.
You heard it here first.
Rodriguez, have you considered Rodriguez? FPL fans saying Rodriguez to score more than Grealish over the next 4. I don't believe that. I don't see it.
I love Rodriguez, but he's put me off. He's put me off him. I don't think he'll start tomorrow.
Definitely starting.
Yeah,
you think?
It's Liverpool. He'll might have limited minutes, but there's no just think if they win, this has got to be one of the biggest derbies for a while. Given they win, that's 5 in a row, and it gives two losses to Liverpool in a row.
Yeah, but he only got back last night. Or he's still flying. He's still flying now. I think he's back at midnight tonight.
Someone said late risers in the chat now. Should we get him in? Let's go foreheads. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, come on, late riser. We've got a link for you.
But let's see how many people we can get in the stream at any one time. No, let's see what late riser. He's on Breakfast Club tomorrow, isn't he? So late riser. So I'll see what he's doing.
I've still got to do my Tesco run before that.
What is it? 24 hours, Andy? You just go in your dressing gown, can't you?
Oh, Nick on the chat with an insightful comment. Mope won't get you 200 points this season.
Well, that's
obviously
true.
He's not going to get me 200 points this season, but he's 6.5 million and he's got good fixtures to come.
You can get Robbo for 0.5 more. You get you 200
Yeah,
points.
exactly. I know. He will.
What I was saying before, I think no Kane is going to give you a headache because you don't know how to spend the money and it's going to eat you up. You're not going to like it.
And also, if you get Kane, you get a route to City later because you can downgrade him easily.
I'm not getting Kane.
Right.
I don't want him.
I think the editor's right.
Honestly, I'd rather have Fernandes. I'd rather have the jammy penalties that United get every week than owning a bloke who sits on the halfway line pinging balls to Son.
I told you this earlier. He's had more shots than Son in the box.
Yeah,
Double.
because United gave him shots. United gave everyone shots.
No, it is Son over Kane, Andy, I think.
I'm not saying it's not, but the halfway line thing, I mean, Kane's had double the amount of shots to Son in the box. And even if you take the Man United game out, he still had double.
Yeah. He's had, how many pens has he had? 2? Or was it just a 1?
1, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
He's had 14 shots in the box. Son's had 7, although Son did come off early against Newcastle, of course.
Yeah, but Son's goals weren't in the box, were they? Because he got the ball. Southampton, he scored the 4 goals from outside the box because that's where he received the ball, I guess. But yeah, I think it's hard. The Man United and the Southampton game are so weird. When you look at the Spurs stats, they're so skewed by those 2 fixtures. It's really hard to get a handle on it. I think you just got to go with the eye test. And for me, Son is just out of this world.
If I was getting 1, it would be Son. Yeah, it's just the money, if anything.
Mm.
If I was wildcard, I'd definitely.
The other thing with Son with the wildcard is he hasn't gone away on international break, whereas Kane has played the international. So he's not only does he look incredibly fit at the moment, Son, he's had the rest. So
yeah, again, that is a massive thing with it. With all these players going around all around the world and getting minutes here and there, and I mean Wolves. I mean, what's happening with Wolves and the all their players with Cristiano Ronaldo? Is that all just fine?
The embargo's gone. We're not going to find out till tomorrow, apparently. So we
Imagine if their whole squad is just decimated. Surely it can't be. No. But
yeah, well, you've only got Semedo there. You've got nothing to worry about there. Right, Andy, who are we going to convince him to get rid of? Just Fernandes then? Because it sounds like he's not budging on any of those forwards.
I'm thinking Fernandez, Stevens, and Antonio to Brewster, Bale, and
Yeah, I
Do
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like quite attacking without too many risks. Like Bale's the only
but you're
risk.
obviously going to both say it. You're both go, "What a great idea, Gareth Bale is."
Oh, I
and
would
then
just
Good
do
night,
it.
Lee. Lee's gone.
and then tomorrow you go, "Haz, I can't believe you actually went for Bale."
The only thing I would
No.
say about you going for Bale is you've also got Pulisic, and there's no guarantee he starts tomorrow. I mean, I'm sure he will because he played minutes in the last game, but I feel like you got Pulisic and Bale, and if I don't know if they didn't start, they both blanked, then that would have frustrated you straight away.
Luke's in the chat.
yeah.
Luke's in the chat. As Luke, what do you tell him? Who should he get rid of, Luke? Just put it in the chat there. We'll try and get
Oh
you.
God, not Luke
I'll
as well.
I'll set up a
This is
four-head
like all
screen
the
and we'll get
worst
him
people that could be like commenting on the wild card are just in the chat at the same time.
in. Well, let's get Joe. I'm going to text Joe, see if he can pop in.
Joe's not allowed to comment on my wild card. I've not shown me his.
Here you go. Downgrade Pulisic to Grealish and do Fernandez to Mane. Double Liverpool attack.
He's not.
Well,
he's
then
not
have
gonna,
no Chelsea.
He's
Come
not
on.
going to get rid of Pulisic. Is
Come
he?
on, have you met me?
Pulisic.
Why do you need
is,
Chelsea? None of their attackers can score.
I don't know if you've heard about this high line that Southampton play.
No, tell us more, Luke.
I think it's the
tell us more about
highest
this one.
line that I've ever been in Premier League history.
Yeah, it's what I really like about it though is I think I'm the first person to notice it.
No
talk
one's
about it.
seen-
So
yeah,
no one before or since.
Well,
has
to be
mentioned
fair,
it.
it took Marino 45 minutes to work it out. So.
You're
Yeah,
also
that's
going to be
true.
the first person with Pulisic. No one's cottoned on that he's 8.3 million yet. So I like it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is. I mean, you know, Havertz I think is going to have his day, but if you're picking between the two of them, it's Pulisic every day.
As if you want to get a 0-1, and apparently Trent is dropping to 7-4 tonight, is what people are saying. So you should get him out and then get him back for a bit cheaper.
Is he?
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
people
Yeah,
are
it
saying.
does look like he might drop.
Useful
Kane's going
bit
up
of
as well.
Information.
Yeah, see, I'm here to help. See, I'm not trying to play mind games. I'm here to help. Get you an extra
Is he?
0-1.
Oh, he is. Yeah, good shout. I think because I forget that it's like the kind of new season, I automatically think that I've got loads of value tied up in him. You know, because like
Yeah.
last season, where everyone had him at the start, and he went up to like what? It didn't even matter because you never were going to get rid of him. So even the thought of selling him was crazy. But yeah, he's at his starting price. So if he goes
stupid
down,
that he's dropping.
he's mad, isn't it?
I'll tell you, I'm quite happy people getting rid because it's only going to take a couple of assists in a game.
And I'm getting called an
people are gonna
amateur
panic.
on the chat.
Do you know what you have
Cheers,
to do?
guys.
In that 7-2,
Look at
if he
this.
nailed that free kick at the end, no one would be getting rid of him.
No.
Yeah.
He hasn't
Another day
played
he
well.
gets
I've
in.
got to say, I said in the article, he hasn't passed the eye test. I can see why, but the numbers still look very good for a player who hasn't performed very well. And it's only a matter of time. I mean, they are Liverpool's two most creative players, right? So I think I said in the article, 34% of their assists have come from those two in the last 2 and a bit
That's
seasons.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Late Roser is saying, by the way, Mane might drop as well.
right.
Not that you can get him in very easily, but
So would he be down to about 11 point? No,
7,
he was
I
12.
think.
Was he 12? So 11.7.
okay, I don't actually know.
Because he was
Yeah,
the
no,
same.
he's 11.9, so he'd only go down to 11.8.
Okay, yes.
Right, so what are you doing then? Stevens out, Antonio de Brewster, Grealish and Bale. Is that it?
The trouble is that goes against everything I was saying about the old, wanting my 3 good strikers. So I could afford. Can I afford Bale? Oh yeah, I can just. So I could just about afford what I just said. So, yeah. So Antonio to Brewster, Stevens to Grealish, and Fernandez to Bale.
Oh, I think that's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
But Bale
Let's-
isn't gonna start, is he?
No, probably not.
Well,
No.
then
And
stop putting
Pulisic
on
might not either. Well, luckily,
But
you've
look-
got Mitchell and Lamptey on the bench.
No, but you've got Brewster who's going to start against Fulham anyway.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and
Daniel Bedra. Why did Az agree to this wildcard roast?
I talked to him. He said to me at 10 o'clock, "No, I'm too drunk." And then at like 10:30, I got a text going, "Go on, then let's do it." I was like,
Do you know what? I actually thought. I think it might have been the beers talking, but I actually thought maybe it would help.
No,
Like,
it was
having
never
a bit of a
gonna help.
chat, having a
No.
bit of a chat, like trying to work out what I wanted and all that. I can categorically say it has not helped.
I can tell you now, no matter what team you put up, it would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Chat everyone always has a different opinion. That's the beauty of it, right?
But I'll do the same when it's my wild card, I promise, right? So we'll do.
And everyone will go, "Oh, Mark, you're so good at fantasy football." Meh, 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 meh." I love your your team, Mark. It's so
They
brilliant.
won't. I'll get slagged
Yeah.
off. Don't worry.
I look forward to the point where you drop Fernandes and get Robertson in, then Mark Wildcards next week and drops a Liverpool defender.
Yeah.
I
Liverpool lose 7-1 again.
if you're not going to go, I would definitely get Grealish and I would get Robertson. That's what I would do.
Or Bale. What would you do? The Bale move?
I wouldn't do Bale. I think
There's
it is too
absolutely
early.
no way I'm doubling up with Liverpool defenders.
Okay,
And there's
all right.
absolutely no way I'm getting Kane.
When
And there's
they
no
win,
way I'm getting
when they
Moped.
win 2-0 and Robertson and Trent get something out of the game, they'll get a
I
clean sheet
don't
and bonus.
think they're going to
tonight.
win 2-0. I don't think they're going to win
No.
2-0. I don't trust having two Liverpool defenders.
Definitely not getting a clean sheet this week. Not with James Rodriguez in the team.
I think Grealish. I'd be very surprised if Grealish wasn't in my team.
Right.
Come tomorrow in some
11 tomorrow.
in some capacity.
We've got
So-
more
nice
viewers now
music.
than we had when we got 1,532 viewers, so it's going up all the time. I keep looking, going. The minute it goes down, we can start winding down. It keeps going up.
It's going up. Yeah, I'm not sure how much more I could drag out my pain.
Yeah. How much agony can we put him through in the next 10 minutes? So basically, it's only Grealish is the only player coming in then, and your bank.
Yeah, I mean, so Atul says, "What do you think of Greenwood?"
No.
I think it is interesting with
No.
with Greenwood and Rashford though. Like, are they just suddenly? I mean, like Rashford was someone. Sorry, not Rashford. Greenwood was someone who I was looking at. I was put off by him because I thought, the Sancho thing might have happened, and then he's not an option. But 7.4 million for Greenwood, still
I think he's 7.3 now.
7.3. That does still seem like a good price for him. No, just wouldn't go near any United players at the moment.
No.
I know, obviously, the whole point of FPL is to try and get in first, but I'd like to see Man United do something good first. Anything.
Yeah.
It's just not. Everyone thinks he's going to play up front. There's no guarantee that happens. I mean, hopefully it does. It'd be nice to give him a run there, but there's no guarantee he plays up front. And then he goes back to the right, where he hasn't actually been that good. I know he went on that little hot streak at the end of last season, but I don't know. I mean, you got Grealish there. You got James Rodriguez for a little bit more money. I don't know. Greenwood's just he's just a punt for punt's sake, I think.
It's a weird one though, because I know
Our fixtures
everyone.
aren't even good either. Have you looked at them?
I know. I mean, you got to think though. I mean, the fixtures aren't good. So come game week 9, okay, is when their next good game is. That's West Brom at home. So they've got Newcastle away. Okay, that's not too bad. But then they've got Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton, and then West Brom. I mean, so kind of what I'm sensing from a lot of United fans is that they don't have much faith at all that you're going to get many points over the next 4 games. That's Solskjaer ain't going to last. If you get 1 win out of the next 4 games, Solskjaer's gone.
One, I wouldn't be necessarily so sure about that.
Really?
Because he's just towing the line right now. Really, he's kind of said a few things.
Even with Pochettino, pretty much ready to come in.
He's been ready for ages.
Yeah, but
They still
Solskjaer
don't.
hasn't had a bad run of results. I mean, a humiliation at Spurs, and then a couple of defeats against other big teams. I think the site
Do
is
you
going to be.
think, Andy, they don't want
wielded.
to change it because Solskjaer's a yes man and he's doing as he's told, and it's? Do you think
I think so. I just don't think they care that much. I think
Really?
just do it until, because I don't think most of the fan base is Ollie out yet. Although they probably would be if he gets no results in the next 4. I don't necessarily think we're not going to get results in the next 4. I still don't think they're good FPL options. Like Greenwood is versus Grealish, Fernandes versus Son, who's 1.5 million cheaper. Rashford, same situation. There's no Martial. Where does Cavani fit in? How often is he going to play? It's just.
There's too many unknowns. I wouldn't go anywhere near it either. Rashford's the one I'd look at. It's a shame because I think it would be nice if they were options for us, but I think in the wildcard, in a couple of weeks' time, you could have considered United maybe. But right now, sitting here now, I think even Fernandes is a risk, to be honest. It's a lot of money to tie up in a United player.
I'm not entirely sure I agree.
Fernandes is only there because you have the money to spend.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
All right. Obviously not. No, it's fine. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that over the next 4 games, just because United have got tough fixtures, that they're going to concede, they're going to score a couple of goals. I think the quality they've got is still.
They'll get by, won't they?
Is still, they've still got an amazing core squad. Even taking Martial out, with Pogba on his day and Greenwood and Rashford and Fernandez, and they bought some players like Tellez, who I think is going to add quite a lot of attacking verve down the left. I don't think they're going to just limp by losing 1-0 every game.
No, I agree.
And Fernandez is the main man.
Yeah. If he gets penalties, he will be. I just think this reminds me a lot of like Chelsea. If this happens, if this all clicks, if they do well in these fixtures, it's just there's not enough actual, I don't know, like hard evidence that this is going to happen. I agree. I don't necessarily think we're going to lose all those games. But as we all know, what happens on the pitch results-wise doesn't matter from an FPL point of view.
Mark's sitting here. 1 minute he's saying, "Oh, you need to get in some players that no one else has got. You need to be careful. You need to be clever with your wildcard and bring him in." And then he's going, "Oh no, don't get him United players. You need to only get in players who have proven something and been form. And getting your double Liverpool defenders despite conceding 7 goals against Villa. Mixed messages I'm getting here.
You want to get differentials that are going to be effective, and I don't think United. You can bank on them to be effective. I think Pulisic is one. I think Bale could be one if only we'd seen him start. But I think Robertson is a bit of a differential.
Realistically, though, like let's talk seriously for a second. Realistically, if you were making a draft, let's be professional for a second. If you were going to pick a player for the next 4 games, and you had the choice between Bruno Fernandes and Gareth Bale,
it would be Fernandes. But if it was Fernandes, and I'd rather have Grealish and do something with the money than have Fernandes, depending on what you can do with the money.
If there's ever a time you're going for Bale over Fernandes, though, it's the next 4 fixtures.
I think if Bale had played and we'd seen him play, I'd agree with you, Andy.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. It's always been a kind of let's wait and see on Bale.
I just think it's unfortunate with the timing for Bale because I think.
Did you not see the training video where he was putting the ball in the back of the net?
I know Joe Hart just couldn't deal with him. He's a Premier League winning goalkeeper.
I will say, right, I do think that got hyped up quite a bit because I'm sure lots of players score lots of goals in training.
Well, has contributed to the hype.
It was kind of exciting to see Bale back though.
Yeah. Isn't it? Thank you. I know it is. I don't want to say thank you. It's like he's my child.
you're his agent, aren't you?
Feels like I wish I was his agent. I'd be so rich.
Okay, so I think I just think you've got to get Grealish in. I think somehow you've got to get him in. I just think that I look at the Villa's fixtures. If you don't have any Villa, I think you're making an error. Doesn't have to be Grealish. It could be Watkins or Antonio. But it's about what you do with the money. I mean, Fernandes is solid, right? He's going to get you some points in the next 3 or 4 games. I agree with you. And it's only worth getting him out if you can use the money elsewhere. Get Grealish in, and that gives you what, 3.4? Surely you can do something with that elsewhere that has an impact.
Because I could, if I was set on Fernandes, I could just do Stevens to Grealish and Antonio to Brewster, right?
Yeah, well, if you could, do you not think Brewster is a more effective 4.5?
No, I actually know that doesn't make any sense because Antonio's a lot more expensive, a lot more cheaper than.
But you've got to get Antonio in game week 8, right? He's coming in anyway, right? So you've got to set your team up for that transfer, really.
By the way, I see Ted in the chat, right? He's saying for ages we've talked about Kane having rubbish numbers sitting deep. Now he's got some of the best numbers in the league, and we're ignoring him. Yeah. Second for shots in the box, second for XG, non-penalty, and he's got penalties.
It's not that we're ignoring him. I just think I don't want to go 2 Tottenham attackers. That's all. I don't trust Spurs enough to have 2 of them. And
unless
I think
it's Bale.
If it's a choice, then I'd go Son.
Yeah, no, fair enough. If you're only getting 1, Son. Yeah.
But
then Kane versus Fernandes, though, surely it's Kane.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think that's it. Kane and Fernandes, or you get Grealish to spend the money. Job done.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
You're gonna miss the deadline. All those beers. So whatever it ends up being now, that's it.
I'm running dry at the moment as well. I could use another one.
I don't think we can end the stream until we've had such a massive argument that you don't speak to me for a week or something like that.
I hate to say it. I'm going to have to leave you to it. Yeah. I'm going to have to leave you.
I think we're going to have to wind it down because Azzy's not going to do anything, I don't think. I think we've almost done.
Panicking.
We've done like an hour and a half, though. No, we've nearly done 2 hours. Let's just do 2 hours. It's 1 hour 47. Let's get to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So can you do it or not? Can you do?
I mean, why am I even putting Kane in my team? This is.
So you can do Fernandes to Grealish, Antonio to Kane, can you?
No.
Oh right. Okay.
No, I can't do that.
It's like $1 million off that.
I can't do that. That I am 0.7 off of that.
Okay. Well,
yeah, no, that doesn't work.
Trent to Robertson, Semedo to 5.
End up like removing all of the core players that I.
but
liked.
you could do Fernandes to Grealish, Mopé to Brewster, Antonio to Kane. You could do that, but you don't want to do that. Fair enough.
No, I wouldn't do that either because that leaves you with Brewster and Stevens.
Yeah, true.
That's it. You don't deserve Kane as. I don't deserve. I don't want Kane. I don't want him.
See, if I got Kane in, I'd captain him as well, and that'd give you that nice. He's almost going to be a differential captain, I think.
Honestly, the thought of having Kane and captaining makes me feel sick to my core. So
I would also, if I was wildcard, I would be captaining this week as well. I think.
Yeah.
Well, you're not. So
I'm just taking them on the side. Maybe I will.
It's exactly what I said. I said to him, if you're going to wildcard, get somebody in you can captain who's a differential captain. And you're not doing that so that's what's disappointing. But fair play. Fair play. You're sticking to your guns. That's fair enough.
Isn't there a game week where Spurs are also the best captain? Yeah, maybe. I can't remember when it is now.
Yeah, next week they're away at Burnley. Then they're at home to Brighton, aren't they? And then they're at home to West Brom. Home to West Brom.
Next two, I'm
away to West
Brom.
Away to West Brom.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I always said, I think I said on BlackBox this week that if I was going to pick someone for captain, it'd be Son this week.
And you're going to stick to that, yeah. I'm going Son as well, I think. Do you think I mean, getting Son in, I had it on Salah, and the more I thought about Salah, the more happy I was with that. But now I'm switching it to Son. Do you think that's a mistake? Do you think I should leave it on Salah? Or
I've had that same... I had it on De Bruyne, and then I switched to Salah, but then I've got Son and it's on him. I think it's so close this week. I think I can take a risk to go against Salah because I'm going to captain in the next 2 weeks anyway.
Well, the other thing for me is I could have 5 players in that first game. I don't want it to be 5 players and my captain.
I've got 5 players without the captain.
Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
And you say that Son isn't like you wouldn't captain like Son still feels like a bit of a left field captain pick.
Yeah, maybe
when Salah's around.
I think anyone on a wild card is going Son or Kane, though, aren't they? Really?
I don't think they are. I think a lot, but I think Salah's still going to be by far the most captain player.
Well, Severt has gone Salah.
Oh, there we go. Exclusive. If you've listened this far,
well done.
We now know.
You've unlocked the Easter egg, and it is basically Severt to go and Salah. I'm going to announce that on the Twitter tomorrow. On the Twitter, as I call it, the Twitter.
The Twitter, hi, Grandad.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to have to bail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bale. Nice one.
Bale, guys. Mind game is continuing.
I look forward to you.
We've got 10 more minutes, as we'll call it a quits on 2 hours.
Yeah, sounds
thanks
good.
for joining us, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
We'll switch back. We'll switch back to the
See you later.
Get Havertz back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to. It's all right. I'll fix it. Hold on.
It'll take you 10 minutes to fix the thing.
No, it's
yeah.
fine.
One of the drafts I had did have me keeping Havertz and doing a double up. So I felt less like I was kind of betraying my constant claims that I was going to captain Havertz by having Havertz and Pulisic, because it's like I'm still backing Chelsea to deliver in that match. So
because you do feel a bit responsible when you've talked about Havertz on BlackBox and on the show and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But I think it's fine because you did say on BlackBox if you had Son, you'd captain him, right? And so
I've always said that Pulisic is the one that I would pick over Havertz anyway. So yeah, I feel not too bad about it. But yeah, I feel like Chelsea in this game. You talk about the wild card and wanting to get in players ahead of time and things. I think this is the time for Chelsea. So we'll see. You disagree. I'm going to be really interested when it comes to the end of that Chelsea match. If it is a really close game and it's 1-1 or something, or 1-0 Chelsea or something like that, then fair enough. But I'm still looking at the fixtures and thinking that's the one to.
No, I think if I was wildcarding today, I'd do exactly what you're doing and get Pulisic in, because I think you need to have 1 or 2 players that you're getting ahead of the curve, and you've done that with Antonio and Pulisic. I'm not blaming you for your selection here, because I think given the timing and where we are in the season, I don't think you can do much more. The only one I would say is I would probably get Fernandes to Grealish, and I would go Semedo to Robertson. That's the only change I think I'd make. But even that isn't massively maverick, but I just think I know, for example, that most wildcard teams won't have 2 Liverpool defenders, and I think that's not a massive gamble. That's all. I just think it's they're going to come good eventually. And it could be even this weekend.
Because I mean, what I could do would be, I mean, I'm reluctant to go with Brewster, seeing as I've been slagging him off for last week. But if I'm going to go to 5 in midfield, is that I could stick with Havertz and Grealish, and then that would give me the money. So kind of best case scenario, Havertz this week gets a hat trick. I'm celebrated as a god, paraded around the streets of Cambridge as being, the most insightful manager in the land. Grealish gets sent off, and your people are chucking rocks at you, and all that kind of stuff.
I can imagine it now.
Or worst case scenario is Havertz blanks again, and then I've got money to either sell it. Well, I've got money to either upgrade him to Bale if I like what I see from Bale, or just do the sensible move and move him down to Rodriguez.
So you're talking about not having Pulisic and having Havertz instead?
No, having Pulisic. So the midfield 5 would be Grealish, Pulisic, Salah, Son, Havertz.
Oh, can you do that then? You can upgrade Stevens to Havertz, Fernandes down to Grealish, and you can afford that? Yeah, I would do that.
If I did Antonio to Brewster.
Oh, right, okay.
Or I could do Brewster to Watkins, and that gives me the exact money, but it means I'd have to bench someone.
So you'd have a front three of Maupay, Calvert-Lewin, Watkins, and a midfield of Grealish, Havertz, Pulisic, Salah, and Son.
Yeah.
I think you do that. Why wouldn't you do that?
Because then I'm benching I'd probably bench Watkins, right?
Oh,
so I'm benching a 5.9 million striker.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
Where's Maupay at tomorrow?
Palace away.
Yeah, you play in there, don't you?
So it's Watkins who gets benched.
Yeah, you're giving yourself a bench headache. You don't really want that, do you? Shame, because I quite like that.
Yeah, I know. So do I. So I need the all-out attack chip every week.
No, nobody needs that again. Nobody needs that nonsense.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tricky. I mean, I do quite like the idea of and this leads me again to Werner, because I could just do Fernandes to Grealish and Antonio to Werner. Then I've got the Chelsea double up.
Yeah. I think that's a good move.
So that's tempting.
Yeah.
It just seems crazy to be wild, like Andy said. It seems to be crazy to be wildcarding and be sticking with Werner, but
well, you're not. You're going against the trend. Everyone's getting out on Werner, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you do think you have said all along
not Werner
the Southampton game is the one where you want him for. And you have been talking about something about what was it, a high line or something you mentioned?
Yeah, I think I might mention that a couple of times.
I don't know.
I don't know. We've been talking for 2 hours.
I know. And we haven't talked
2 spots to fill.
And you haven't changed
between you and Andy, FPL experts, and I still don't know.
Well, I've told you what I would do. I would do Fernandes to Grealish, Semedo to Robertson. That's what I would do. But you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. So fine. Yeah, and you're not going to change anything, are you? I can see you at 11 o'clock with this team.
No, Grealish will be there.
Right. And you'll bank the money.
Grealish will be there, and it might be a strengthening of Stevens and Mitchell.
Can you go to Stevens to a player that you would bench for this week?
Well, like Souček probably is the sensible one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think Souček is a bandwagon waiting to happen. I think as soon as he gets
I know you do. You love Souček.
I do. He's a 6.57 million midfielder really in a 4.5 midfielder's clothing. A 5 million midfielder's clothing. He's not a 5 million midfielder. It just hasn't happened for him yet, but it's going to. So I think it's the same for Brewster. Brewster could be a bargain, but we don't know yet. I've only got him because I think he's a good player, and I've seen him for Swansea, and he scores all kinds of goals. He's a goal scorer for sure, but he can get 25 yarders as well. So he's not just a box predator. But it's what Sheffield United can create for him. I don't know about that yet. A lot of people said today. I think Jules was saying, should I start Brewster or Souček, and I've said to her go Souček because I just think we've seen him play, we're seeing him getting opportunities, and I think Spurs won't keep a clean sheet. Whereas with Brewster, we just don't know what we're going to get yet. But I think in a couple of weeks, if Brewster gets a goal in the first 2 or 3, he's going to be a bandwagon, and so is Souček. And then that's why I've said keep Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, because I think in a few weeks we're not going to know what to do with all the money, because we're going to want Souček and we're going to want Brewster. It might not materialise, but I just think that could happen. And then everyone's going to be going, right, I'm definitely getting Robertson and Trent back because I've got this money and don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah,
especially with KDB out as well. Yeah.
I mean, one thing we haven't talked about is kind of one of the major players that I've taken out. Who, I mean, before the international break, like everyone was bringing in. I mean, we talked to Granville about it and how important he was, but Jimenez is gone.
Yeah.
So,
but I think with Jimenez, you can get rid of him, and you think, well, he might hurt me, but not. It's not going to be a mortal wound, is it? It's going to be a flesh wound. So
yeah, the fixtures are good though. I mean, Leeds, Palace, and Newcastle, right?
He'll score in at least one or I think he'll get a couple of goals in the next 3. I think he'll score at least. But I don't think he's going to get more than 8-9 points, is he? So in any game, that's the trouble. I mean, I backed him against Fulham and I captained him and I got disappointed. And I think Wolves will win at Leeds. I do. So I've got Podence and Jimenez. I noticed Podence was in the scout picks. I was like very surprised at that.
Yeah, it's surprising. Yeah, especially given what's gone on in Portugal, and he's not.
It's nice
really
to see,
delivered
but it made me think. Oh, do they know something I don't about Podence's chances of starting? Because if Traore starts, Neto might start, and Podence will be on the bench. But no, I think you can get rid of Jimenez. It's not that much of a worry, so that's fine. And you're going to want Antonio in 2 or 3 weeks' time, so you're getting him now. Fine. What transfer do you think you're going to make next week if you kept this team?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, that is kind of the kind of idea would hopefully be not to make one, and
then bank it. Right? Okay.
It's nice. It's nice to bank a transfer after you play the wildcard because you hope that you've kind of set yourself up to not have to do it.
Yeah. I
mean, if I did go with the Havertz or Werner plan, then it almost feels like I've got kind of one sort of ready to go if they blank again and I don't see what I want to do, which I don't necessarily think is that bad a thing, because it does kind of feel a bit like this is. I keep saying it, but this is why I didn't want to play the wildcard this week, because I've always felt that the fixtures change quite a lot next week, and this is the game I've wanted the Chelsea players for. So it is annoying that I'm sort of losing faith in the Chelsea boys.
If you want to claim your team's been hacked and someone's played your wildcard for you, I can email ISM, try and sort that out for you if you like. So it's not too late. Yep. It kind of is, but it's not, So, but
I have to delete this video. It's probably
exactly. But no one will know. Only 1,500 people have seen it. It's fine. Yeah, you've done it now, so you're done for, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, Lawsy on the chat. Nobody whatsoever. Nobody at all. What transfer are you thinking of making next week, Az? I don't know. I can't. Give me a chance to sort my team for this week out.
The idea, because that is worth examining, because what you don't want to pick a wildcard team and go, oh, okay, that's the team I'm going to have for the next 6 or 7 weeks, because obviously it's not, because you've got 5 or 6 transfers to make. So you need to pick a team which has long-term views in it, but it's not too long-term, whereby you're going, oh shit, I don't know what to do here to change my. Like by getting Antonio in now, you're kind of doing one of the changes that you would have done in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Because I look at it and think, well, I'm going KDB to Son, and then I'm going to spend the 2.4 next week. I'm probably going to go Podence to Zaha, because for Palace or at Fulham, I'm going to take a punt on Zaha, and then to get the money back, so I can go Son to Sterling or KDB later, it's going to be Jimenez to Antonio. So I've got that plan in my head about transfers coming up, because I want to take a risk with the 2.4 I'm getting in the bank for going KDB to Son. I want to do something a bit maverick with that next week, which is why I'm spending the 4. Because someone said to me, why don't you just not do Son this week and do it next week? And it's partly because I want a transfer next week to use the funds. To try and get involved.
Exciting. So really, this is all a segue into me asking you what exciting player you're gonna get in next week.
Yeah, it's going to be Zaha at Fulham, I think.
Zaha, really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because
Wow.
I think that if he's still up front, against Brighton, I think
Not expecting that.
he probably will do well against Brighton, and I think Zaha at Fulham will be a decent punt. He'll be. You can see that there's going to be differential articles written about him, and no one's going to have him in a wild card, and no one's going to transfer him in unless, like me, you've got 2.4 knocking about. So he's a really good differential, I think, and he could get 2 goals. He's good away from home. Fulham are Fulham, right? So that's what I'm looking at as the best use of the 2 point. There might be something else. I just did a quick glance at it and went, well, if Podence scores at Leeds, I probably won't get rid of him and I won't do it. But I think maybe he won't even turn up at Leeds.
Interesting.
Anyway, we better wind down now. Down. It's 2 hours. We've done well. That's not a bad first live stream.
First foray into a live stream.
Yeah, we didn't get the. Look, I prepared the chat window and we didn't even use it. I wonder if it's just. Yeah, there it is. There, but it's a bit messy. Never mind, it does work. There you go. See, it's not Zaha injury.
Not about to cry.
Apparently Zaha's been flagged tonight. So.
Oh really? Interesting.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So I'll have to have a look at it. Maybe that was an embargoed bit of team news that came up later. So we'll have to have a look at that.
Look at that. There you go.
Yeah, so I'll have a look. But yeah, he might be flagged tonight, but let's see whether he's going.
Well, I'm going to take Trent out of my team now, which will probably be the only time this season that I do take him out.
You're not going to actually get rid of him altogether, though, are you?
No, but he's dropping. So he's going to come out just for a little bit, just until 3 a.m.
Right.
And then he's probably going to come back in again. Because, yeah,
you're getting for 0.1 cheaper.
Yeah, he does look like he's dropping. So that is a use. So out of all the things we talked about today, the one useful thing I feel like this conversation has given me is I might save 0.1 on Trent.
There you go. So it's worth the stream to get you that 0.1. Who knows where that 0.1... Later in the season on a black box, when you go, oh, I can just about afford him, I'll go, well, remember that stream
we came on?
Till 1 in the morning on your Wildcard. That was worth the pain and the late night.
It was. Oh, was it worth the pain?
Right, as don't make any hasty transfers in the morning. And, stick to your guns, it'll be fine. And I'll see you on the stream.
Yes.
Are we going to do it Wednesday next week?
I think we should switch to Wednesday.
Okay, you heard it here first. Another exclusive for those still in.
Exclusive. I think if we switch to Wednesday, it just gives people more time to listen to it. We've got more time to edit the clips.
Yeah.
I think so. But
yeah, we'll I guess if you were in the stream tonight and you enjoyed it, drop us a sub. It's much appreciated. Smash it, and we'll see you on Wednesday night. Thanks, everyone. Yep. Good night, Az. Sleep well.
Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon. Bye.